Yeah, stressing out about the whole assignment, but overachieving the one I was like the pressure I was putting on myself, seeing some other people's final for that class. What a kick in the pants I wanted to do to myself. I'm like, I didn't have to overachieve. I could have just did the basic. But
It's the sign of a true artist.
yeah, and Nicholas is like, "Oh, perfect. So that means you can do all these other things." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. It was just one class. I needed more practice, but yes, I could stress myself out again, I guess."
He said, "I see the potential."
Yeah, I don't know. Do
Yes.
you use Photoshop?
I use Photoshop for graphic design,
Mm-hmm.
and then for photo editing, I use Lightroom. And I'm very
I've
like
never used
I
Lightroom.
stick to it. I just like that's where I stay.
Mm-hmm.
For a while, I started moving photos from Lightroom to Photoshop, and I would do like Gaussian blur and skin smoothing and all this stuff. And then
Mm-hmm.
I think it was literally just a phase because I remember doing it for 2 weeks. I figured out the skill, and I was like, I don't really like how this looks.
Do you feel like can you learn the programs fast? Do you feel like you understand all that really quickly? Because I've been
Mm,
struggling with like Illustrator and Photoshop the whole time.
no, I don't learn programs fast. I learn what I need to do in order to complete a job fast.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I that's what I
I
say I
understand
know
that. Mm-hmm.
because I cannot teach somebody how to use Photoshop if for example, my brother knows very well how to use Photoshop and Illustrator.
Mm-hmm.
He understands it. Now, I've given him artwork and he goes, "Hey, why is it this way?" And I was like, "I apologize dearly."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um um um, um I go, "Oh, because I did it like this." And he goes, "Well, why'd you do it like that?" And I was like, "That's how I know how to do it. It was really fast and it worked." And he goes, "Well, that's 100% wrong. 'Cause I know it works, but it's wrong because when you get it to this point, this is what happens. And then
Mm-hmm.
you have to go back and redo it." And I was like, "Yeah, I didn't know that at all." He said, "You know how to use Photoshop?" And I'm like, "To do what I need." And he goes, "Okay,
Yeah,
sounds good."
that seems like me even with like learning, and I'm like, you know,
I learn the essentials for what I need, man. I don't think I need to know every in and out of a program if I am not looking to be a specialist in it. If my
mm-hmm.
goal is like, this is what I do and come to me and I will do it for you, I make your vision happen, then yes, I should
Mm-hmm.
know everything because I'm going to get projects from fucking top to bottom, whatever you can think of, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if it's very personal driven and it's just trying to create what I have in my mind, then trying to understand every program that I'm working with or every format that I'm on is, in my opinion, a hindrance because it's going to take me more time to understand everything than if I were to just start putting in practice and learn as I go. Because at least I'm taking little steps
Mm-hmm.
with each moment of learning instead of just figuring out how to do things on the program that I might not even be planning on doing or wanting to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually how I operate on learning new programs. The
Okay,
one
okay.
program that I am very versed on and can go pretty deep is digitizing software called Chroma.
Oh, okay.
So that's
Never
for
heard of it.
it's specifically for embroidery. So you can think about it as like you know how there is software for 3D printing.
Yes.
It's kind of like that, but specifically for it's on the back of the machine. The plate with the serial number says computerized embroidery machine.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because apparently an embroidery machine is just a fucking sewing machine that can throw different types of stitch patterns. I
Hmm.
didn't know that. And then a computerized one, it has a motor that understands schematics and plotted points, and it moves
Mm-hmm.
something on a plane so that the head can do what it's supposed to, pretty much. Yeah.
Hmm. Are those needles like? Are they pretty big, or are they like?
Like an inch and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not huge. If you've seen the needle of a sewing machine, it's
Mm-hmm.
basically the same needle. Just the ones I use are thinner because a lot of the stuff that I do is more fine line and lettering. Um, and the thicker the needle you go, obviously the thinner the hole, and also the more trauma.
Is that Ariana Grande?
It sure is. We
I'm
love
sorry.
Ariana Grande.
Okay.
Shout out to Mama for those.
You know, I'm not mad at it.
Me either. It makes me very happy. I look at her and go, she's hot. God could be a woman, for sure, you know?
Yeah, I mean, God is beyond what we can understand, right?
Dude, you know what? Actually, so I think this came up on another pod recently, but I saw something where when or in Hebrew text or something like that in the Bible, it says that God described woman as helper, but the Hebrew word for helper is more similar to God. And I was like, she was right. God is a woman. Like literally, that's how my mind
She did
processed
the
it.
research.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
She went into the vault.
I'm excited to see her in Wicked.
Have you seen the musical?
Yes.
Have you read the book?
No.
Ooh,
I'm
way
not a
different.
reader.
Way
Really?
different. It's way different. I read that book when I was like 16. It's a very adult book as well. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's apparently they're gonna use more they're gonna add more like kind of book premise into it. So I'm kind of interested to see how they're gonna do that. But it looks pretty good. Did you like the musical?
I did. The one thing I was sad about is that I forgot my glasses, so everything was just all blurry. But it was really
Stigmatism?
cool. Yes, stigmatism and nearsighted because I can see close. That's why I took my glasses off when we sat down. I had them on, and I was like,
wait a minute.
something's wrong here.
Okay, you're fuzzy for me if I take them off.
That's funny. You're clear for me when I take them off. I mean, with my glasses, they're clear too, but I try not to use my glasses when I don't need to, so that my eyes are like don't change too much. If that makes sense. It's my doctor told me that I don't have a heavy prescription, which is good. And I'm trying not to get it to be heavier. So I predominantly use it when I'm driving so that I don't miss streets. Because I just can't read.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Coke bottles over here, or Coke caps, whatever they're called. I have astigmatism in both, so I don't know.
Like bad astigmatism?
If I didn't have them, I probably shouldn't drive at night. Like it could be that bad.
I see.
But that's why you always got a spare when you got glasses. When you need
That's
glasses,
true.
you know.
That is true. The problem is I leave my spare at home, and then my dailies are in my bag. So
I just
if
leave one
fuck
in the
up-
car. I'm like,
See, that's smart. Because I have fucked up before, and I've just put my sunglasses on if I really needed to. I'm like, you know what? It's fine. It's okay. And then I'm that douche. Sunglasses at night, and then I go slower. Like I can see, but it's a lot darker, but I can see. So the good news is I can actually see better in the dark if things are clearer.
okay.
So that's cool. Yeah. Last time I was at the doctor, eye doctor asked me if I felt like I could see better than most people in the dark. I was like, yes. And he goes, oh, interesting, because your corneas are actually larger than most people. He goes, do you have to wear sunglasses when you go outside? And I was like, I predominantly wear sunglasses when I go outside because it hurts my eyes and it's like really bright. And he was like, yeah, that makes sense. Your eyes don't dilate like normal or like close like normal. And I was like, oh. He was like, yeah.
You got like
That's
a
what you'd say.
superpower. You're a mutant.
Kind of, yeah. That's what I like to think. That's what I like to think. That's why I like to stay up at night. You know, it makes me feel better. Like
Yeah.
my eyes work now.
I understand. I'm a night person as well. Night is the time.
Really is. I've done morning. I woke up at 5 for a while. It's not the same.
No. I don't get that giddy feeling of I'm done with my day at noon. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't hit the same way as being off work at like 8 or whatever, and then you're like, let's go do something. It's nighttime.
Let's go do something. You got all the juice from the day. The stuff has happened. You've experienced some things. Especially if you want to get into some creative stuff and you're a doer of things.
See, but sometimes I do like the daytime for creating. Sometimes I feel
Really?
like daytime's better for me for creating.
Interesting.
If it's digital, if it's traditional, nighttime or anytime, doesn't matter. But specifically, I feel like less motivated to do digital things at night.
Interesting.
I don't know. Maybe my brain associated that time with like what's it called? Decompressing and just video games or
It's
whatever.
not a bad thing though. It's good.
Yeah.
Bet you go to sleep fast. Like when you lie down and you're like, all right, it's time to go to sleep.
No, my brain just starts
Really?
thinking about this, whatever, thanks. Whatever rude, whoever in the day, I just think I should have said this. And then you're like, why am I thinking about this? I need to let it go. It's not that serious.
That's funny.
Do you got a little, is it one of these?
Oh, yeah, there's they all work. Pick your favorite. There's less lighters on that side, huh? I'm hoarding them.
To be fair, I didn't really look too hard either. I
That's
just
okay.
turned real quick.
These two are my favorites. This one because it's gold, and then this one because it looks like a grenade. This one actually got me into a lot of fucking trouble for
that's
like
really
3
cool.
months. Thanks. Security kept on stopping me in buildings that I was walking into because it was just hanging off my bag. They'd go, "Sir, what is that on your bag?" I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, "That green thing, what is that?" I'm like, "A lighter." Like, "Are you sure? Are you sure that's a lighter? Can I see it?" I'm like, "Yeah." I take it off. I'm like, "Here, you wanna see me light it?"
This is really cool. I'm fascinated with this, so I have to touch it.
Click that little thing.
This thing right here?
Yeah.
You need to put like a quick release pin on there, so you just pull it off and toss it out.
Dude, that'd be great.
You know, my mom was against smoking, even weed or whatever, for a while, and then she made peace. She made peace with it when she bought me this vintage Camel gasoline lighter, and she's like, "I got you something," and she showed me. I was like, I thought you were against it. She's like, "I just seen it." And I was like, "Well, thank you, I appreciate it." Never put gas in it yet, or a little bit of lighter fluid or whatever yet. But
what do you need? Like the does it take the same as like Zippo?
I think so.
Like fluid, or is it
so.
butane?
Whatever was the older one that they used to use, probably.
Probably like legit.
Is it Butte?
Zippo, yeah. This is similar to Zippo fuel, probably.
It's pretty cool. I need to use it, but it's just sitting in this little case, looking at me.
Get yourself some fuel, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're dope. I used to carry around a Zippo until they all started leaking in my pocket, and I was getting chemical burns.
Ooh.
Yeah. So then stopped doing that. But now they all live up there, so they're just like all for looks and memories now. Now I keep I like, if you can't tell, I collect Bics. They're all from moments, or they've been gifted to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was eyeballing your establishment here. It looks pretty cool. It looks artistic to me.
That was the goal, to generate a lot of thought, provoke thought.
The the Hunter anime poster had me for a second.
You watch?
I do not, but I know about it.
Okay. That was the first anime that I watched because...
Ever?
Yes. Well, I guess knowingly, like, okay, this is the anime, this is the genre of anime, because the first anime that, like, I ever watched was probably Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Same.
Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon.
Dragon Ball, Pokemon.
Gundam, like, all the OG fucking, and, like, on the TV animes.
Channel 5, Saturday mornings, right?
Yes.
Kids WB.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't know what channel, I don't know what numbers. I just know I'd flip through them. But
I had that. We only had 13 of them, but I knew number 5.
Would that have been before weebs were a thing in the U.S., you think?
100%. I think so.
So interesting thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget about them.
So, good friend Ruben, he is a weeb. He is a pop culture fanatic. This fool knows everything. Love the guy.
Wait, is a weeb like all pop culture? I thought it was just...
Nah, it's just straight anime.
Okay.
But he is just like all pop culture, but he's also like super weeb. I watched Hunter x Hunter because of him. He was like, if you just fucking watch this one, please. It's good. And it was good. And then it slowed down. And I was like, all right. I did my due. I appreciate it.
I was deep into anime for a while.
Same. I got Demon Slayer art up there.
Did you Toonami it as a kid?
Yes. Inuyasha.
I never knew what happened to the end until they put it on Netflix.
Dude, I still haven't gotten to the end.
And then there's a new show with him
and their kids, I guess.
His kids and Sesshomaru's son or something like that. I don't know.
That's weird. That's where I check out. I'm like, all right, I'm not following your kids. Like, you guys were cool, but
that was the song, the exit songs. Those had me in such a...
Dude, I found them on Spotify.
Oh yeah, I think I found them too, but they had me. I had the CD, like I had the
No
soundtrack.
shit. OG. You're a real one. Fuck yeah, respect.
There was a like a Japanese. Are you familiar with like the Block?
Mm-mm.
No, I think it was there. There used to be like a Japanese little like shop that had like soundtracks for like games or like animes or whatever, and you could pop up in there and you could buy like the soundtrack. I didn't know what the hell they were saying, obviously, but
Yeah.
it didn't stop me from like vibing out to it, you know.
Yeah. That's cool.
Inuyasha, yeah, that was good.
I think that was probably the first cartoon that scared me. Inuyasha.
Inuyasha. Oh yeah, I guess
You
yeah.
know one of the first episodes, that fucking the
Centipede?
black thing? I think so.
The girl with the heavy chest. Yeah, I remember her.
Is it?
She
Where
was
it
like a
comes into the
centipede.
real world?
The
And they're
centipede
like on
girl,
a
right?
scaffold? I think so. I just know it's long and black with a white face. It's really fucking
Probably,
creepy.
probably.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
horrified
Japanese
me.
like demon culture,
It's not
like
cool.
it's pretty creepy. They have some interesting things.
Yeah. I have a book on mythology. So mythology is something I really enjoy.
Oh, what kind? Like I just in general.
Greek. So specifically that I've read up on is Greek and Japanese.
Yokais, a bunch of them, huh?
Yeah.
They have one for like any like a chair or like a lighter.
Yeah, which
there's
is
a
wild.
lighter yokai.
You can so in the book that I have, it prefaces, it says, "This is not all of the tales." I'm like, okay, and the book is
There's
like
more.
this fucking thick. I'm like, all right, dude. But it's like all the tales of the animals, and you could just fucking list. There's at least like 25. Like, damn, and then it's the same thing, objects, and then it's people, and I thought it was interesting because the mythos of different cultures almost seems like a cultural Bible. Like, this is where we came from, and this is why we exist, and these are our cultural beliefs as to why we do things. It's a trip. If I remember correctly, in Japanese mythology, it's man. For them, they're like, everything is created. Then it's man and women. They have kids, and some end up becoming fucking bad, and some are good. And then, like, the mom dies, and the dad has to go into the underworld to save her. This is all like botched and not the greatest. But it's along these lines. And then when she comes back, she like is death and the demons, and because he went in, it opened the door, and super fucking trip. But it describes like, this is why we got here, and this is why bad things happen. And then there's so similar how in the Bible it says like, oh, make your house by these parameters and only use these cloths to hang in your windows, and make sure you only use stones from this area. Like, it says the same things when you make your palace or whatever, when you make your house.
It sounds like
use
feng
this
shui
wood.
kind of like.
Yeah, it's really trippy. I read that and I was like, it's a little too close to like a little too similar to be coincidence. Greek mythology is a little bit different because that shit just all sounds like stories.
Yeah, like kind of anecdotes for them to like understand things at the times they were in.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, mythology's pretty cool. Do you have a favorite story for like mythology story or anything?
Yeah. So the first one that came to mind, it's sad. I think it's something like the man and the turtle, or the fisherman and the turtle is Japanese mythology. And the fisherman, I believe he's on the shore, and he's either on the shore or he catches the turtle, and the turtle needs help. He helps the turtle, and the turtle goes, "Thank you for being so kind. I'd like to bring you back down to my king." And the turtle goes, or the guy goes, "Okay." So the turtle takes him underwater, and he gives him the ability to breathe. Takes him back to the palace, and he meets the king, and the king is super grateful because the turtle was his best servant, and he doesn't know what he would do without this turtle. And then
You have me linked in here. I'm like, what's going on with this turtle?
so the gentleman meets the king's daughter, and they end up falling in love.
Okay.
Now, for them, only about a week has passed, and he goes, I forgot I have a family that's been waiting for me. I'd like to go and see my family. Can I do that? And she goes, no, you can't leave here, unfortunately. He goes, okay, that's fine. Then I'll just stay here with you.
Mm-hmm.
Another week goes by, and he goes, I'm really missing my family. Can I please just go say hello and make sure they're okay? And she goes, you know what? Fine. If you really want to go, I will let you go and see your family, but take this box with you and promise me one thing, that you will not open this box. And he goes, why? And she goes, I can't tell you why. You just have to trust me to not open the box. And the king calls over the turtle, lets him know what's going on, that he's going to go back to the surface. And the turtle takes the gentleman up to the surface, and he says, on the way there, he says, remember what the princess told you. Do not open that box for any reason. Now, one thing that had not been mentioned to you is that time moves differently underwater than it does on sea or on land. So things might be a little bit different than you remember. And he goes, okay. He gets to shore, and he gives him a shell. And he says, when you're ready to come back, blow this shell, and I'll come get you. He goes, okay. So he goes to his home village, and everyone is different. And he goes and he asks, he says, so where's my family? And they go, they've died a long time ago. They're like, what do you mean? He was like, yeah, they died like 50 years ago. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Everyone is gone. So he looks at the box that he has, and for the life of him, he can't help it. And he opens the box, and immediately he turns to dust and dies.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So that box essentially was holding his vitality in time. That's my favorite and most impactful story that I had remembered.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if I fully understand. I don't think I've taken the time to fully understand and like dissect everything from that.
That's kind of like what is his name? Have you ever seen The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
I have not seen it, no.
Dang.
But I know what movie you're talking about.
Well, I'm not trying to spoil it, but there's like
It's okay, you can spoil it. It's been out for a while.
Yeah, it's been out for like 20 years. What are they called? I guess they're villains or monsters or whatever. One of them can't look at his painting because it'll
Interesting.
Like he'll die. Like the painting, but the painting looks like some old. I think like it's like an old skeleton, like you if you looked old,
Okay.
and he looks young, and he's like hundreds of years old. He's like 1,000 or something. And if he sees it, he dies, but he's immortal essentially. So he eventually accidentally sees it. He's gone.
Yo.
So that's what the looking at
Yeah.
the box reminded me of.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right now, my mind jumped to, that makes me think of like, don't ask questions you don't want the answer to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't go looking for trouble if you know there already might be. Yeah. Story time in history, I think, is how cultures pass down messages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like to not make the same mistake, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. But how you were saying, it's a lot easier to tell them this story instead of just going like, hey, don't go jump off that cliff. I guess that'd be pretty easy, but I'm sure like stories aren't that surface level. So
True.
so the story would be like, you know, Jimmy, he died because you jumped off that cliff.
Yeah.
There you go. It's a pretty short story. It's also a pretty quick death. Hopefully. You can only hope. Speaking of jumping off of cliffs, that brings me to Midsummer. Have you ever you seen that movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
Right.
But it's like a cult, right? Movie.
Yes, I haven't seen it either, but I reminded myself of a scene where people age out of the cult, so they kill themselves to make space for new people to come in.
So what's the age?
I think it's like 60 to 70 something, because they look
Dang.
old, but not like super, super old. Yeah. And this couple together jumped off of a cliff, but the way they landed, they didn't just like die. So then two guys
They're
had to
just
go
like-
down there and fucking bludgeon them.
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's a wild movie.
Ooh. That doesn't. There's a movie kind of like that too. It's like I think it's like an 80s movie. I couldn't tell you what it's called, but it's like a dome. They live in like a dome, and it's like some sort of society. Maybe it's called Biodome.
That'd be a good name.
But I think that's the name of the movie. And the premise is finally these two people figure out like something's going on. Like people are just disappearing after a certain age. So eventually that's killing them. There's like robots that are in control of them or whatever. Kills them when you get to a certain age. So they escape the biodome and they see that there's like a desert, but eventually like society's rebuilt itself and people are like stuck in the biodome, but also like we've already moved on. Like we've figured it out and we're building everything back. So it kind of sounded similar to that.
Yeah. It's crazy how much everything draws inspiration from itself.
Mm-hmm.
Which this is a great segue because one thing I've always been curious about, where do you draw inspiration for what you do? Now, I like to describe your artwork as like
Please describe
realistic.
it. Yeah.
Realistic cartoonism.
Realistic cartoonism. I like that.
That's how I see it because it's not exactly cartoon, but it's not. It's not like
I'm really writing this down.
Exact realism, you know, but it's like it's really fucking close. Yeah, that's the best thing that I could come up with, and I've been pondering that for like the past couple of days too. Because before I would just say it's very Benjamin.
Honestly, I like to hear people's interpretation of my art style because it definitely didn't start out the way that it has. But realistic cartoonism, that really like I'm not lying. I'm going to use that because I've never really could figure out how to describe it. I used to tell people that my artwork was kind of like Art Nouveau. Are you familiar with that style, like Art Nouveau?
No, I don't even know what Nouveau is.
It's like I think it's like 1920s, like 19 teens.
Damn.
Do you know what Harper's Bazaar is? So it used to be like it was like Vogue before Vogue came out, but it was when they actually watercolored and they painted everything. Sick. There was no picture. It was literally they were painted and then those paintings were copied, mass printed, and then you had your Harper's Bazaar. So it's kind of like that. Have you ever seen like Lord of the Rings artwork, like from the book, like how it has like there's kind of like a frame within the artwork. That's kind of like Art Nouveau. It's and it balances like architecture kind of assets with flora and fauna type things into the images. So that's what I would say, but I'm like that's so much to say. Do you see? Yeah. I'm out of breath right now just describing that. So
Makes
the way
a lot of sense though.
But the way you say it cuts to the chase. It's just like what it is. But what was the question again? I forgot. You asked me
where do you draw inspiration?
Everything my fantasy that goes on in my head at all times to exist in the world that we're in right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do.
But honestly, I just remember always drawing. Just would draw things like watching cartoons. You just kind of think about things that you like, especially video games. I think that's very inspirational. For me, so I don't know why I was so close to the microphone either.
No, I was totally fine. You're good there. The closer I like to feel like you're inside my
telling
head.
The story.
So I'm good. Yeah. Yeah.
But like video games, I would say I'm very inspired by nature. I love nature. I like all animals essentially. So I also know a lot of random facts about any type of animal.
You have
essentially.
a favorite?
The pangolin, the African pangolin. I don't know if you're aware of it. It is the most endangered animal on this planet. It's being hunted for its quit like a.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I think I know what it is. It looks weird, right?
I'm like going off over
it
here.
It almost looks like a Pokemon.
They look like mini armored anteaters.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They have like they're the only mammal with like scales. No other mammal has scales.
It's legit scales.
Like plated.
Weird.
And they're hunted because their plates is used for a soup. So. Yeah, and they can't take care of them in like a zoo because they eat too much. So there's no way you can have enough ants for it to eat in an enclosure.
Oh.
So
interesting.
Yeah, so that's a random fact about that. But so animals and even like plants, I'm really good with plant stuff. So I feel like that's an artist thing though. Like, we kind of know a lot about certain things that most people would be like, that's some random ass crap. But
Yeah.
So those things. My daily life, like I work at a coffee shop, so you kind of get like that's a lot of humor for me,
Yeah.
and just kind of nostalgia with like growing up, being like not older, but like in your 30s and thinking, dang, I still play video games, and I was like a teenager and I'm already like an adult. And you kind of
Yeah.
go back to that, and without thinking, like when I do my little doodles or whatever, I kind of implement those types of things into it. And for like painting in general, just painting, I don't know. I just kept doing it. I was really fascinated with fashion illustrations for a long time, like traditional. Like
That makes a lot of sense
with
too.
markers, and I love using those types of things because no one really does that anymore.
Mm-mm.
And there was an artist that kind of inspired me. His name was, what is his name? He's a British, a black British artist. His name is Hayden Williams, I think. And he does really, like, he's done stuff for Vogue and other big top like brands and stuff like that. And he got known from like Instagram. He would just keep doing it, and they reached out to him to do, like, I think Beyonce like even reached out to him to do like part of her
sick.
line. So I just got into it, and then I took a watercolor class, and I was like, I'm not good at it, but let me just take it. So took it, and I just never stopped using watercolor, and I just kept adding more and more different mediums. Like started adding like pens for like fine line work, and I figured, oh, when I outline things with like a little bit of a harder color, it kind of makes it pop more. It gives it more dimension. So I just kept learning, and when I mess up, I'm like, whatever. I could rip it up, and I have no problem.
Wow, that's amazing. Because I have a hard time letting go of projects. I'm more the person where I go, I'll put you to the side. Maybe you'll be something later.
I feel like if I hold on to it too long, if it's something I'm not okay with, or if I don't really care either way, if I hold on for it too long, it holds me back. Because then I'm constantly like looking at that. I'm like, oh, I should have did that differently.
Yeah.
Versus, that's why I put everything in a portfolio. I have like 4 of them now, and I just put it all in there so I don't have to see it. I'm like, it still exists, but it's away, and if somebody wants it, I could just ship it out or something.
How interesting.
Yeah, I could. I don't know if that was a lot, but I could talk about art stuff, any type of art thing too, forever.
That's why we're here.
Oh yes, we are. Yes.
Well, yeah. My mind is being blown because I've just been able to like scratch the surface of Benjamin, you know. So this is great because I've always been curious to know everything that has happened to progress to where you are now, because I know that the art that you're producing now was not like that in the beginning, because nobody starts just like really good. So I'm always really curious to figure out how people found their own way to make their style. And so far it seems like it's just been a culmination of life experience.
Yeah, well, to premise too, I found out in my 30s as well, I'm autistic. And kind of
Him too.
through just you get older and you're kind of like, there is definitely something a little weird about me. Not normal, like, cool, I like what you do. But you like, I started going to therapy, and that really like helped me figure that out. And I don't need to pursue it like actual, like to have like a medical thing. We're from like 3 years of therapy. We've got to this point. So I'm like, that's enough for me. I've made it this far with no like extra assistance. So I'm like, why would I limit myself if I've been okay to keep going? You go to therapy, you learn tools, how to help you coexist, whatever. So that happened, and I think that was later though. But I don't know. I went to school right after high school. I was gonna do like acting. I was gonna pursue theater. Yeah, and I don't feel like that is so not me now. So it's just so weird to think about.
No interest.
No,
at
because
all.
I'm very introverted. I don't know if it's obvious, but I'm a very introverted person. I can be extroverted when I'm around people that I really know really well, or if I find a lot of common things together, I feel more like, oh, okay, I can let my guard down a lot more because there's a lot of interest, and I'm like, there's no pressure of me being like, oh, I sound like a dumbass or something, you know?
Yeah.
We're all hard on ourselves, but So that was like that happened, dropped out after like 2 years because I just was not happy. So I worked at Disney for 5 years making coffee.
Nice.
Then I got hired at another coffee shop. I'm gonna leave it for the blank, just
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Question: where was better, Disney or currently?
Currently,
Okay.
Disney's
Snobby people, right?
I like going as a like if I'm going to go have fun, totally down.
Yeah.
But to work there, it was very. I didn't have problems with people, but everybody would obviously come to me because I made the coffee. So you'd hear everybody's problems backstage, what's going on. And you're like, dang, some of these people really take things too to heart, or like, it's not that serious. Like you're not curing cancer or anything. Calm down. And people just really made it their life, and maybe that was me. Like, this is just a job. Like, you don't need to.
Yeah.
And it's not even like a job you could say. Well, I guess maybe if they're an actor, they really love it. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't love at Disney just doing what I was doing. But anyway, so right now is good, helping me get like my degree. I'm finishing up soon. But to get to that point, I just kind of was working, and then I just started leaning more. My ex that I was dating at the time was the only positive thing I always say he was doing was encouraging me to pursue it as like
that's cool
because I was so interested in comics and video games and I would just be drawing anyway, so why not make it a career? So that I started, and eventually got an illustrator's certificate after like 3 years of working on it while I was working. What is it?
Yeah,
it's I could technically I mean, I'm certified to illustrate.
That's so cool. I didn't know.
Yeah, and I don't really use it.
I didn't know that there was a certification for illustration.
Yeah, there is. I wanted to make it my bachelor's, but they didn't offer it through the school I'm going through. So, and I figured I need to learn digital. So doing graphic design is like forcing me to learn all the digital aspects so I can use it for my illustration.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, that's what I was working on, and that's when I started taking like fashion illustration, learning markers, what's called life drawing. Life drawing was probably one of my favorite classes. Like, I know people are like, "Oh, there's naked people. Of course you like it." Not even that. It was because it was like a 4-hour class, so you were there for like all day because you can't sit there for like an hour, and you can't get a whole person in like you can't even get a half of a person in 30 minutes. No. So you had to really commit, and it just felt very like it felt really like I kind of liked some of the people there because you were there like all summer, 3 months or whatever. You're doing this, and we're doing like maybe one same model for like 2 weeks, and you're just kind of learning how to do them like quick strokes and how to draw. And that obviously helped me with the type of artwork I do.
Yeah.
And that was so much fun. I've been wanting to go back to just do physical life drawing, but it's just time-wise, it's like not working right now, but I'm definitely going to go back and do that.
That's really cool.
That was a really fun class. I took a kind of like a marketing class on how to market yourself as an artist. And that professor I think his name was Kelly Capps, and awesome dude. He designed the green burrito logo for Carl's Jr.
Way.
Yeah, and he was our teacher.
That's
he did a
cool.
bunch of things with other big companies too. And at that point with my artwork, I was already good with like marker, and I was starting to get good with marker and more like life drawing stuff. Hold on, I need a sip of water. And the stuff I was presenting was still like nowhere near as like what I was doing now. But he was like really encouraging. He was the first like actual teacher that made me feel really encouraged. Like, what are you doing here? He's like, you could be selling your stuff now. He's like, I could see these things already. He's like, give me an idea. What do you want to do? And at the time I was thinking, I kind of want to bring back like doing like fashion illustrations, but I want to do it for men's things because I feel like men, we're not, they're still not, no matter if you're queer or not identifying as a man, we still kind of only have one look for everything. It's like there's a bunch of us too. We're all different. Sometimes we just like to look at us look nice, like, and then be like, hey, maybe I'll look good in that suit, or I'll look good with like that jacket, and it's just not presented the same. And I feel like even with kind of giving an art aspect to it, would be more appealing too. And it hasn't been done in a long time, so I really wanted to get into that. But now I kind of just want to. I think I want to just create like a comic book. I want to do a comic book. I want to do a comic book and an adult coloring book.
That'd be cool.
And
That'd be super cool.
I think so too, because I get a lot of like questions from people or DMs. Do you have like a coloring book or something like that? And I'm like, why am I not doing a coloring book?
Yeah.
But I could probably do one now, but maybe the anxiety is like, I can't get this together right now. But I think I'm going to do that, but I really want to do a comic book, and I want to do it based on like coffee shop experiences.
That'd be cool. You 100% should.
Yeah, so that's one of my goals, and another goal would eventually be to maybe like start my own or be a part of kind of like a design firm or something that has like an illustrating section in it that I could be a part of. Like, I don't need to be like a director, but I just want to be a part of something like something that I can like and believe in, you know?
Yeah. Just get to create all day.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah. That was a mouthful too, I feel like, of stuff.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. Sometimes you just got to rant for a bit. It's the flow of story, you know? I felt it, so I was locked in. I was there.
Yeah, I was trying to get it all in without being extra long.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm a big fan of long stories, so I'm here for it. I am known to be the person that will give you all of the details because I feel that this one small detail is important for you to know in the next 5 minutes when I tell you what's going to happen at the very end of the story. And the fact that I said my story was 5 minutes, I like to think of myself as a storyteller. Like, that's who I am at heart. So I appreciate a good story, and I understand. I get it. I'm there with you. I'll let you go.
Yeah. I was wound up, you know.
Dude, so this is how I know I have ADHD. You said wound up, and I thought of all of the wind up toys, like the little Jack in the Box and like the little chattering teeth.
I thought of the Gwen Stefani song.
So I have a question. Do you know, has there been any noticeable impact on like the fashion industry with generative AI and all that, with like designing and stuff like that?
I don't know too much about that, but I've seen articles about how they're using it to help kind of do like the people's collections, and it's kind of like, well, where's the personal input on that, and what are they gathering it from? I don't know. AI kind of maybe I'm a weirdo, but it kind of scares me more than like, I feel like, yes, there's a lot of good aspects, but also I don't want to be lazy. Like, I want to be part of the creative process, because that's the best part of it, like doing the whole journey.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know too much like about how much involved in it.
I hate that it's called AI, because it's really not. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's just information we're giving it, right? It's not it thinking. We've given it so many references. It's like it's like a Rolodex,
it's
right?
so misunderstood, and it's really annoying seeing people talk about it sometimes.
Yeah, it's using an archival knowledge to create, air quotes, new information. It's not really new information. It's just bringing the best information to light that it could find. Best information as far as what is
and then
provided on the internet.
People are making, like, they're selling that as art. Like, they'll generate it, and they're like, okay, this is worth like $4,000. It's like, why? You didn't do it. Like, I'm sorry, what? Like, NFTs, I don't understand NFTs at all. Maybe that's
non-fungible tokens.
An interesting argument I've had with people online about AI is that AI isn't much different than, like, if you or I were to go, oh, I like these art ideas, let me just put them together and try to make something work. And I'm like, it's very different.
Oh yeah.
Completely different.
You got to do everything. You got to go through your sketches, your brainstorming, like everything. It's definitely different.
So to prove a point, a photographer entered his favorite picture into an AI generated photography competition, and he won first place. And they had to revoke it because they were like, no, that's you broke the rules. It was supposed to be an AI photo. And he was like, yeah, but you guys all chose it as the best. Because my point was to prove that you're still missing something with AI.
Mm-hmm.
The human soul isn't involved. It's missing the human aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I found that really interesting, and I also believe that there's a human aspect into art, because ultimately it is a piece of you, not only your personal experience mentally, but there's like spiritual energy that goes into works of art.
100%. I mean, I totally agree with that. There's whatever your like spirituality belief is, your essence is whatever type of art there is, because there's obviously so many different expression forms. You're putting some of yourself into anything, even if you don't think it's the best. You still
It's still got a piece of you in
yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
On that, is there any art that you've made just to move through feelings that you were having, and then did you hang on to it, or did you do anything with it?
Yeah. I have a lot of stuff that has been for stuff like that. I did this whole how big is it? It's probably like, what's this, like 24 inches? Like what's this? Probably like this width, and maybe by like 12, like whatever.
It's pretty big.
Poster, and I did my exes.
Mm.
I did paintings of when watercolor and stuff, like watercolor, but no like pens. It was all the details just watercolor, and I did like a flower with all of them, like kind of like I associate with them, and that was pretty cool. Like I was like, I have to just do this. It was just random. I was just maybe in the middle of the day. It was probably like 4:00 in the afternoon, just to get over all these like feelings and confusions, or just like emotions that I didn't know how to regulate or understand, and just did it. And after I was like, this is cool. And like I didn't even care about like who was it represented. Just doing that, I was like, this is pretty cool. Still have it. I don't know if I mean, I could get rid of it, but I'm gonna hold on to it for a while. But that's the main thing I could think of right now.
That's super neat. In my mind, I thought of immediately like those big poster board collages of like Marvel versus Capcom. I thought like similar to that.
That's on the Switch now. I gotta buy it. I don't know if you play games.
Is it really? Yes, I have. I have a Switch, and
I'm like a religious video game person.
I try, and I have a problem. So
no, me too. Like
I try my best to like keep myself away.
I'm trying to make time. Like this is game time. 2 hours is enough today. But yeah, they put it on there. So
Marvel vs. Capcom. I might take that up, because I've really been missing Soul Calibur. That one, Soul Calibur.
The first time I played it, I think was PlayStation 2.
Soul Calibur.
Mm-hmm. Whatever number that one was on there, that was the first time I
probably
played it.
4, because that's the first one I remember playing. Soul Calibur 4.
Did that one have Link? Was Link in that one?
I think Link was in 5.
Oh, I know he was in one of them.
Yeah, me too.
Dang. I think okay. You're definitely right. But I think I liked it too, because you got to make your character, right? You got to like set up what type of fighter they were. I believe.
Calibur 2.
Ooh, 2.
What? Damn, I thought it was way far out. Holy shit!
I haven't had a PlayStation in forever, but I kind of want to get one just to
Same.
play old like PlayStation games.
The last one was 3. Don't do that. Just emulate them
On a computer.
Yeah. You can either do computer, or I bet you could probably find a cracked version for the Switch and just download it.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
I have a friend, one of my coworkers that I get along with at work. She does all like that stuff too on video game.
Nice.
She's into it.
Yeah.
I was like, I kind of want to be like that too. You know, I want to.
Dude, it's a whole other.
I love video games
man.
that much, though. I'm like, I got to make money off of that somehow, because
stream.
That's why I think
why not?
I'm redoing my website too, so I want to add like a game section of like, and do maybe whatever to that.
That's cool. That's cool. I think streaming would be a really good way, because then you're also through streaming you also get to talk, and then you were talking about how you found stand-up comedy interesting. Well, that's your little like, I could try it out. I could like fuck around.
I guess that's a good.
Space,
that's a good idea.
The people that come to watch you, they're gonna fuck with you anyways. So they're like, you'll end up finding your own community, and they're gonna fuck with all your jokes. So it's like perfect.
Yeah, maybe
through there you'll have fans too. Send them to your website, and you can have the coloring books and your comics.
Mm-hmm.
There
You're
you
like a
go.
marketing genius over
you go.
here.
That's kind of what we do. It's
Yeah.
Mad Prince. You
See,
know, we're a production house.
that's the part of design that I'm not good at. Like I'm not good at branding stuff, and I'm trying to be. I'm that's why I'm like I'm all the creative stuff, like all the like I'm my brain's like
yeah, same. I'm full on creative, and it was presented to me as a problem, but my brain will take an idea and immediately go to how can I expand this to the biggest thing it can possibly be. And sometimes people don't want to hear that. They just want to have their idea be heard. But I get excited sometimes because it's like, in my mind, that's part of the creativity. Like, if you want to do it, you can grow it to this. And like, this is a new avenue of it. Like, it expands your whole world. But I also understand some people are like, well, for me, I just like to cook. So I don't want to do anything. Like, I just want to be in the kitchen and cook. Like, that's just what I like to do. I go to fucking work. My job is cool. It pays my bills. And then I get home and I like to fucking chef it up. I'm like, but if you just had a camera, like, it would look so good. So that's just my
that's
mind, you know. It ticks.
That is an amazing skill. I don't have that skill.
We all excel in certain areas because I can't business. I'm not the one to do I'm not the one to do numbers. I'm marketing. Thank you, appreciate it. But I don't understand marketing. I thought I did because
you sounded really good for helping me out for a second. Like, that was great information.
See, I thought that was all marketing. Apparently, it's not. Apparently, marketing is like knowing the demographic of your region and how what you're doing like plays into the statistics and numbers of what's in your area.
Yeah, that's more like brand building.
Yeah, I guess it would be that. So I used to call myself a creative consultant.
Okay.
That used to be my official title prior to now, I guess. Now I don't really have a title. I do everything. I do everything. I don't know. Professional arts and crafts. You know, that's the title that I've been using lately.
That encompasses a lot of things, though.
It does. Arts and crafts is kind of a lot. You know, you think about it. Making a building is arts and crafts.
That's why when someone tells me they do art, I'm like, okay.
Cool.
Like I immediately understand you do more than 3 things. Like,
yeah,
you really do. Whatever it is, even if it was all digital, you're an art man.
What about when somebody tells you that they're creative? What does that make you think?
It makes me think of TikTok.
Oh,
I don't have a TikTok either, but it makes me think of it, and I'm like, dang, I'm gonna sound judgmental. It makes me cringe a little bit.
Dude, me too. Are
you a fire sign?
Yes. You're in Aries, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
I think we had this discussion.
Okay, I'm not trying to be all
Leo.
Not trying to be all. Oh,
no,
okay,
I love it. Love it. Yeah.
I feel like there are some things that I find with other fire signs where like that just makes sense. Like,
look, astrology is fucking weird. Whether you wanna believe it or not, or you think it's your fucking thing, like
we're a pebble floating through it all.
Exactly. And sometimes you read shit that's a little too close to be coincidence. And then it's not even just for yourself. Like, out of curiosity, I'm like, okay, I'm dealing with this person. Let me just see. And I read, I'm like, oh, how fucking interesting. That's to the T. Like, okay, cool. No, I don't know if that's just me trying to reassure myself on my end. Or if it's the universe, like, nah, you're onto something. But I think it's fun, and some things are fun. True, and some things aren't.
Yeah, not everything's perfect.
No. But prior to this, we were talking about something that we didn't like.
We didn't like.
Yeah, I don't know. We got excited because we were both fire signs. Oh, creative. Using the word creative. Yeah.
Yes.
For me, makes me think of YouTubers. Like vlog.
Yes.
Like I vlog. Yes. I'm a daily vlogger, you know? That's what creative makes me think of. Like
making me twitch.
Pre-TikTok, you know?
Yeah, I could see that too.
Cringiest for me is I
would never just say I'm a creative.
I did for a little bit because I was like, I create things.
But also, you're actually doing something. Like
That's fair. I like making T-shirts is actually creating. That's fair. But so are you.
yes.
You know, you take multiple things that aren't.
I take little pieces, different types of paper, and I.
Dude, there was one time where you blew my mind, and at the same time, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. You posted a picture of one of your pieces prior to it being finished, and you had tape around the border, and I was like, that's why he has such straight. I was like, oh my fucking god, that's so smart. But also, I was like, oh, that makes like that's why he has straight. That makes so much sense.
I don't do. Have you ever watercolored? Like done?
Long time ago, and I only did it literally once. It was back in high school. I took an art class because the summer prior I got really, or I didn't get really into. I went back to because as a small child I would draw all the fucking time. Like I remember first grade, every Wednesday at the end of class, she would legitimately put on Bob Ross, and we would have like drawing.
I remember watching PBS, right?
I think so. And
I could not believe he painted all that. Like it was mind-boggling.
Dude, legit in like a fucking hour.
Yeah.
In like an hour. Oh, bullshit.
Legend.
Just true. My favorite saying from him is, you gotta have the dark to see the light. I'm like, it's good.
That's real good.
Yeah.
What was your senior quote?
Clearly it wasn't anything good. Clearly it wasn't anything good. I don't remember. I can tell you that during the end of my senior year, I wasn't in a good space mentally. Yeah, I was going through a lot of depression because I wasn't the best to people. And ultimately, I boiled it down to, okay, I just need to go say sorry, and then I'll be okay. It doesn't matter if they forgive me or not. I can forgive myself, let them know the truth, and try and be a better person. And I did feel better after that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, no senior quote for me. Not that I remember, at least.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
I think it was the closer you get to the light, the bigger your shadow becomes.
Oh.
That's very Kingdom Hearts right there. I don't know if you're familiar with that game.
No, I was about to be like, damn, that's
that was
fucking good, dude. This is.
I think they say something like that in the game, but that was
good.
the inspo.
Either way, that's good. I like it.
I was trying to be, I'm too smart for everybody right now. But we have one. No matter who you are, we're all smart asses at that age in 100%. Some way.
100%. I'm pretty sure I put something along like where if you read into it, you're like, oh, this dude was going through some shit. I'm like, all right, but if I did, don't remember for the life of me. But going back to the Bob Ross, first grade, everybody else would try and like follow the drawing or the painting, whatever was on the TV, and I was like, I have a robot that I need to make. Then I just fucking draw out whatever I wanted to, and then the teacher would collect it, and I'd be like, nah. She's like, you have to give it to me, and I'm like, you're not gonna like it. She's like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't draw what was on the TV.
You're not gonna like it.
She's like, well, let me see it. And she'd be like, try and follow along, please. And the next week, same shit. And then she sent a note home to my parents. And my parents were like, just draw what's on the TV. And I did. And she was like, this is really good. And I was like, what about all the other stuff? I was like, fuck you. They were all good. I like the other stuff better.
They're like, they want the generic what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, I was like, man, that's some bullshit. And then after that, I kind of stopped drawing for a little bit. I got hyper obsessed with fishing and hunting. Spark it.
Fishing and hunting.
Yeah, fishing and hunting. This is a fucking.
Those would be really cool paintings. Like I could see myself painting like somebody casting.
Dude.
That'd be really cool.
You should. That'd be sick.
I've been kind of wanting to get. Sorry, I'm not trying to make
It's okay.
this all about me.
No,
so
it is all about you. But no, you're good, dude. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Anyway, fishing. What's your favorite fish now? Like
Largemouth bass.
is that a river or a sea?
Lake,
Okay.
typically in lakes.
Are
You
they in
can
California?
find them. There is some in California. The best places to go largemouth bass fishing, you're gonna be looking at like southwest or like Midwest region of the U.S. and then lower east.
Okay.
Yeah, like South North Carolina. I know like Wisconsin, that whole like little section.
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana, Mississippi, that region. Texas is pretty good with it. California is all right, but like the record fish here are fairly common in the other states.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like the professional fishing league is the Bassmasters, and predominantly they fish in the Midwest.
So is fishing a sport?
Yes.
Okay. Is it in the Olympics?
No, it's more like a fishing game sport or like hunting game sport. Sorry. Yeah, it's technically considered a game sport, not a sport, although it is a sport. If it's a game sport, it means that you're getting something from the wild. So like spearfishing is also a game sport, or if you were to go crabbing, that's a game sport because you're collecting game. Anything living is considered game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very interesting. I used to hang out in libraries and research my favorite animals or the animals that I would want to go
That sounds
hunt.
cool.
It was very cool. And then I would sketch them out. It was very, if now, like thinking back, I was like, damn, that was a little sadistic. I would sit there and just read about animals and figure out their
That's
tendencies
really
so I
cool.
knew how to kill them specifically for that. Like, that's what I was doing. This is
So
the main
you
purpose.
know how to kill them?
Yeah, so I could like track them down and then like, I'm gonna kill you and eat you.
Okay.
That was, I was like, I'm hunting. That was my I was like, I can't wait to fucking shoot a buck. Yeah, so I stopped drawing to research that, and then senior year took art again, but I was learning all of the stuff that I had already known. And the last project that we were doing before I transferred out of that class to go sing and dance, was watercolor. To go all the way back to if I've ever
Wait, to
done
go sing and
watercolor.
dance? What do you mean?
I was in a group called Showtime for one semester, so I was singing and dancing in a show choir. It was fun.
Cool.
Yeah, my brother.
That's awesome.
My brother is heavily musical, and he had done it for like 4 years prior, or he had done it for all 4 of his high school years, I should say. So the teacher had always wanted me, but for my first 3 years of high school, I played sports, and then my final year, I was like, sorry, I'm in art class, I'm not gonna sing. And then I was like, art class fucking sucks. What else can I do? And I was already in drumline, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just go to the music wing. And I was like, all right, cool, it's fucking time. You got space for me? And she was like, yes, you're in. And I was like, no audition? She was like, nah. I'm like, all right, cool. Nepotism, huh?
Nice.
Yeah, it worked out. It was cool. Didn't have an audition. My first grade was singing Valentine's. So she was just like, there you go. This is what we're working on in the class. Do it. I was like, yeah.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, that was cool. Not bad. It was fun. Yeah. Did you do any type of musical stuff, or was it only
In high school?
Yeah.
I was in drama 4 years.
Hell yeah.
I told you it was art.
Yeah.
Acting was gonna be my thing.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like now. I'm like, oh, now
That's
I could.
funny.
I guess everyone always told me I was funny, and I don't feel like I'm a funny person. But even at work, everyone. I guess my responses are what are funny. Like I just don't. What's it called? What would be the word? I'm just very blunt most of the time with.
You have a
But I think
lack of a filter, I guess.
Yes, but I think I'm sensitive to people's feelings now. Like I'm more.
It's the tism.
Mm-hmm. You just boop. It just pops out like, oh dang, that sounded probably like.
Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, I was in drama. I didn't do art at all.
Interesting.
No, I was drawing all the time, but wasn't never in charge of not in charge. I was never in an art class until like I went to college, and I was just teaching myself everything pretty much by myself, just doing whatever I wanted to do.
Cool.
I always say if you want to be better at drawing or any art, just start copying things.
Yes.
Like, yes,
Dude.
you're copying and don't feel bad for it. If you're learning, don't feel bad for copying. You should not.
Exactly.
It's only going to help you learn that artist trick, and then you start doing your own tricks for whatever you're doing. But yeah, so I was just doing that drama. I was in 2 or 3 musicals. I think 2.
Sick. Do you remember the names?
Yeah.
You're like, God, do I?
The first one, I was in good shape when I was in the musical. And
I bet.
the first one I did in my sophomore year was Little Abner. I don't know if it's like really hick, like
I do not know Little Abner.
There's a movie of it too.
Okay.
It just takes place like it's like very hillbilly. It's just a bunch of hillbillies, and their town's getting like bought by the government, so they're trying to fight back or whatever. A lot of intense dancing, throwing girls on her shoulder, like running out with the girl at her shoulder at like 15 years old. That we were working it.
Yeah.
Rehearsals were till like 9 or 10 at night, right after our school. So from like 2, we have like maybe 30 minutes. So we all ran to go get food, came back. We were there all day doing homework and rehearsing.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
that is insane.
It was so much fun though.
I bet.
That was fun. Then I did the other one was Sweet Charity. I was the understudy for the main role for the guy.
Yeah.
And the guy who was the main role, he was also in track, and he chose to do track instead last minute. So I had to take his spot literally the night before opening night. Nice. We had 4 shows. So, and do you think I studied the lines? No, because I'm an Aries and I didn't give a damn. Yeah. I was like, no, I didn't get it the first time. Why am I going to learn the lines now?
Yeah.
But so a lot of dancing in there too. It was like Bob Fosse. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but
no,
he's like a legendary choreographer for like a bunch of things. But it was his musical or whatever. A lot of dancing. That one was intense. But then we did like my senior year. We did just like a play. Like it was a comedy play, and I played a villain, and I had so much fun.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it was called Lucky Dollar, and it's a musical too, but we just did the play. It was kind of like a Roger Rabbit type of a situation.
I feel like villain characters would be really fun to play.
I know it, and I never wanted to, but I did, and I was like, this is so much fun. Because I made people laugh too. Like I made it comical, so
nice.
That was fun.
Why didn't you want to play a villain?
I don't know. Maybe because I just didn't want to be isolated even more than I felt like I was. You know, when you're in awkward like high school era or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe I was more. I think I was a lot harder on myself than I actually was presenting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I see.
Which also pushed the art, more drawing and all that jazz.
Artists do thrive from, missing something internally.
Yeah. Do you like sad songs?
Oh yeah, I fucking.
Don't you feel like that helps you? Like,
love to cry.
If you want to do something creative, you put on sad songs, and it just, for me, it gets the emotion that I need. It gets that oomph out that I need.
It definitely depends what I'm trying to go for. It definitely depends what I'm trying to go for, because I can spiral and just end up being sad for the rest of the day. Like I'll finish working on the art and then I'm like still pondering those like sad thoughts that came up from the music, and I'm just like, man. And because much like you, I'm very hard on myself, especially for decisions that I've made that probably like maybe weren't the best for me. I'll just go back to them like, fucking, I know I learned the lesson, but like still I feel so dumb that I did this or whatever. No, I won't do. I do like sad songs, but I won't listen to them for inspiration. What I will do though is if I have sad feelings, I'll use that for inspiration. But what I've found works best for me is I'll literally play what my emotions or what I think my emotions would sound like on a like a MIDI control piano, and sometimes I'll record it, kind of similar to what you said earlier with making the art piece and like you felt better afterwards. Sometimes I'll record it and I'll just keep it because I really like the way it sounded, and sometimes I never record anything and I just play out the chords, and then I feel better, and then I move into like working on projects, and I almost feel like refreshed and re-energized, and like I'm ready for new stuff. Not so much like trying to recreate anything, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's just me. I love listening to sad songs.
I don't think it's just you. There's gonna be some people that are like, yeah.
And I could be done, and I'm like, I'm in a good mood still. Like it helps. It helps get the soul out a little bit. Yeah, there's something I feel like maybe it makes me feel human too. Like that I can tap into like emotions. I'm like, okay, I'm not as disconnected as I feel.
For me, that's how I feel with movies.
I love movies.
Dude, same. My parents, they showed me my first movie. I think when I was 4, it was Land Before Time, and then they tried to get me to read.
Yes. Why would you read after you've seen a movie first? Hello.
Exactly.
I mean, but I do like to read too. But it makes me fall asleep. I'll read and I'm like,
dude, yes, I feel you there. I distinctly remember. I think I was like 18, and I cried watching a movie for the first time, and I was so confused.
You said 18?
Yeah.
What movie was it?
I think it was Sing.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
It's a Disney movie with the singing animals, the little koala.
Okay,
that's
okay.
Matthew McConaughey, I believe. The scene was where.
Wait, when did that come out?
I might be wrong on this. Can you check and see when Sing came out? Because if it came out in 2019, it might have came out in 2019. But I know, like, in my high school years, I remember feeling like nothing, like, oh, I'm unshakable, I'm cold. But I had also
2016.
Okay.
So I watched it at home with my parents. So that makes sense. Well, I watched it at home with my mom and my sister. Yeah, I remember I tried very hard to be like the cold, hard ass, unshaken. But that was from being on the soccer team for 3 years, and I was also the captain. So I kind of had to have thick skin and be able to like tough it out when you're dealing with 20 other men, or not men at that time, but 20 other young dudes. But we were all testosterone like build, and I wasn't the biggest guy either. So, I had to be that. And then, I remember watching this movie, and the spoiler alert, the dad of the singing gorilla.
What'd you say earlier? It's been out for a while.
Right? Yeah. He sees his son on the TV, and he's in prison, and he goes, "That's my son. He's singing." He goes, "Oh, I've got to see him," and he breaks out of prison and goes all the way to go see his son. Thanks. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, "What's going on with me?" I was like, "That's so nice." And I sat down with myself after watching the movie, and I was like, "Why the fuck did a movie make me cry?" Man, am I getting emotional?
Dang, that was
Is this what emotions are? Yeah, that was the first one that triggered it. And then the next one I saw, fucking boom, same shit happened. And then I know the movie that I can think about and it'll fucking make me cry is I'm blanking on the name right now. The one with all of the emotions from Disney Channel.
Oh, Inside Out. That's a good. I seen that at home for the first time. That was a good movie. I didn't cry, but I felt more better related with the second one, with anxiety there. Because maybe in my life right now, I feel like that bitch is in control right now.
I didn't experience anxiety until after I watched the first one, so I watched the second one and I was like, and I was in the movie theater the same way. I was like, this is the 6th time. Why? Like, stop. Yeah, I accepted it. Literally, it was like 18 years old. The next movie I saw, I cried again, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just an emotional person. It is what it is.
When the movie that I first cried in a movie at 8 years old, and I was raised very maybe strangely, but it was my mom's favorite movie is Color Purple, and she made sure I watched that movie with her, and I remember crying. I was crying, and it was like 8 years old. That was that, and
that's not a good movie though. Isn't that? It's very sad.
It's
right?
very sad. The story's very sad, but it's a good movie. Like it's good. Like it was done well. Like all that stuff.
Yeah,
but
great message too. I'm sure.
Yeah, but very sad. So that was my first time crying from a movie, and I'll
Oh,
never forget
I
it.
was crying from sadness.
Yeah, I understood like the whole why she was sad. Like I understood things pretty quick, like
Yeah.
a lot sooner, because most kids wouldn't even pay attention. They'd be like, oh, duh, duh, duh.
Yeah. I started thinking right now,
Mm-hmm.
that statement of the first movie I remember crying to was false. But the first one was from terror, because I watched The Exorcist, the first one, when I was like
Ooh.
4. No, I was like 5. I was in kindergarten. Not or kinder or first grade. Not the best time to watch that movie.
Definitely not.
But yeah, sadness was gonna be the other one. The fucking Sing. Yep. Great movies
Sing.
though.
Sing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have seen it. I think I have seen it.
And then they did Sing 2. I don't know if I saw Sing 2. I can't remember. But I loved Sing 1. Inside Out is great. Yeah, I was raised a little odd too, because I saw The Exorcist really early, and then my mom was like, "No scary movies, but you can watch Passion of the Christ."
Just in theater, right? I was in theater watching it.
I saw it in theater, and then my grandma liked it so much that my mom bought it for her for Christmas, and then we watched it on Christmas, and my grandma was like, "See, this is why we have Christmas," and I'm like, "Okay."
And I'm like, we seem to be having too much
it.
fun for what's going on.
Dude.
Like if that's the real thing.
Yeah. I asked my grandma, I was like, "He got whipped this many times?" And she went, "Ooh, he got whipped more." Bro, everyone was crying watching the movie, and my grandma was like, "Nah, this is not even how it happened. It was worse. It was worse."
Yeah, that
like,
sounds
okay.
Like, why are we celebrating?
Right. We should take a day of silence at this point.
Bro. Thankfully, I was already scarred from The Exorcist, so I was like, this is just not a good time. Homeboy is sad. And then there's the scene where the devil screams, and they pan up from like the ground and just like, rah! And I was like, I'm leaving. I was like, I'm done with this fucking movie. But my mom wouldn't let me watch Nightmare on Elm Street or any of the Jason movies.
I didn't have a choice. It was like 4 of us growing up at the same time, me and 3
Sick.
cousins. So they were older and I was the youngest. So
Yep.
it's like we're watching this, and I'd be like behind a blanket. But now I like scary things now. I test that to one of my friends. Like she got me into scary things.
What was the first scary thing you remember liking or like wanting to see?
It
Really?
like
the new
first,
one?
the first one.
Oh, the original.
The original.
One.
I was scared of it,
No
but
shit.
I was like, I kind of want, like, there's some sort of interest in it, but it gave me nightmares. Like, and I still would think about wanting to see it. And then getting older, I started watching it, and I started watching more scary movies. I like Demon-y, Haunted House, those types of movies.
Those are all the things that I'm like, that's my last pick, because I'm not a fan of demons.
Well, I'm not either, but they're good
ghosts and-
stories.
They are.
I hate alien stuff. I can't do alien. I mean, I say I can't, but I'm going to be freaked out.
I'd rather watch that because I'm like, the likelihood of aliens coming down like right now is less than possession or demons.
I feel like that's more of a chance. But see, I feel like with demons and stuff, you can be like you can start.
That's true. You could.
You can go into your spiritual
You could.
aspect.
You
but
could,
an alien,
100%.
there ain't nothing we can do. With an alien.
That is true. You're getting abducted and probed for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. And I guess you are right. They could just appear. Do you believe in aliens?
I guess.
You kind of have to.
I
right?
guess.
Kind of
but I'm like, I want them to be like Star Wars, but like the good Star Wars, not the Empire or the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Like I want the good Republic. Can we? I'm being specific too. I want the good ones.
The door is open and you just see a red saber. You're like, oh, we're fucked. Leave. Run away now.
I'll do whatever. You don't have to cut me in half. Just what do you need me to do?
Just tell me. Please.
Actually, you know what? Just make it quick, please.
That's funny.
Or
That's
can you do the force thing real quick?
Can you show him? We're fucking choking.
I just want to see if it's real. That would be creepy,
great.
wouldn't it? Like big ships, we just look and they're just that would.
Here's a thought to freak you guys out. There's a very common idea, like, for why we've never encountered, like an answer to Fermi's paradox, why we've never encountered alien life. It's called the dark forest theory, and basically it's that other advanced civilizations are aware that there are more advanced civilizations that are so dangerous that announcing your presence will just get you annihilated. So nobody
That makes
reaches
sense.
out anymore. It becomes horrifying when
That makes
you
sense.
think about the fact that
Yeah.
we've been radiating
Yeah.
signals for the last 100 years.
Yeah, but then you go, if we've been calling out for the last 100 years and nobody's answered, we're probably
It
But it
hasn't
does-
gotten that far yet.
But it does take a long time to travel in space. Obviously, they would probably have something we don't know travel-wise.
So then, see, I'm gonna be devil's advocate for all the boomers. So then, if it's taken that long to get out there, why should I have to worry about it? I'll be gone. You know, alien invasion is for the next generations, bro.
Well,
I'm
I hope
good.
it doesn't happen when I'm here. Please let it be after I've peacefully passed in my sleep
I always
as an
think
old
that
man.
sleeping. Yeah, that'd be nice. A ship's coming down.
That would be, and it's not Star
I'd shit
Wars.
myself. Nah, it
You'd be
wouldn't
like,
be Star
"Wow."
Wars. I would. Let's see. What would I think? I would just sit there and watch. Fuck it. Like, what's the point in running? Like, I'm just gonna see what goes down.
Yeah.
Maybe they choose me, and they're like, show us where to go, and I'm like, yeah. I've
But
been
then it could be
chosen.
like, have you seen War of the Worlds, the one with Tom Cruise?
No.
You know how like eventually they die, the aliens die. They're trying to eat our blood, and our blood is killing them because they like. So we could end up infecting them, or they're allergic, or they can't handle our oxygen or something.
That's true. That's true. I do remember. I don't know if it was that movie, but I
I
do
always-
remember there's a
I
movie.
always thought that was stupid. You're telling me that a species so advanced it's conquered intergalactic travel hasn't grasped germ theory?
I guess like
Yeah.
it's like their arrogance, like like their. Oh wait, but for the dark, what was it called? Dark theory.
The dark forest theory.
Dark Force theory. I've heard of something similar to that about like it's kind of like there's different classes of civilizations. We're 0, like, and it goes up to 5 of like you have to harness your star's power and you can use it
Yeah,
to
like a Dyson sphere.
and what was the thing? Other civilizations know we're here and they're like you're not. There's not there, or like there is like there could be like a real thing where all of them are interacting. We're just not to that level. I don't know which one would be real, but I can see either one. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can
Or
see
maybe
either
they're
one.
all real. If you like to believe in
Like Star
multi, kind of.
Oh, you mean like multiverse?
Multi-universal. Yep.
Do you think that's real?
Oh, 100%.
What like
I think
what
so.
what exactly is all that? I don't know too much about any of that stuff.
What it is, I don't know. I can't explain, but I can tell you what I think.
Like yeah, what
So-
is your thought on that?
What I have concluded, and what I'd like to think, because I think it's fun. When we dream, we're spectating on a different universe. That's a different you somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a different timeline. That's why sometimes it seems like really, really fucking similar. Like similar to here. It's the same people, same scenario. You're like at work or in your house or you're doing a thing, right? And it seems like it could have happened. You wake up and you're like, "Whoa, that was really fucking weird." That's like if you've seen Rick and Morty, you know when they die and they find another reality that's the most similar to theirs, and they hop into that one because they like ruined their reality or something like that.
I had never watched a full episode
Okay.
sober
So-
enough to comprehend what's going on.
Oh, check this out. The multiverse is a hypothetical set of all universes. Together, they are presumed to comprise everything that exists: the entirety of space, time,
They're
matter,
happening all at
energy,
once.
information, blah blah blah.
Ooh.
But it says the concept of multiple universes has been discussed throughout history, including Greek philosophy.
Hey yo.
Oh.
So they've been talking about it that far back. So basically, anything that can exist does in multiverse theory. Like-
Pretty much. So like there's a universe where we're both girls.
There's a universe where you're straight and Eric's gay.
True.
Oh,
True to go. True to
that's interesting.
full end spectrums. Yeah. I saw 2 little sage leaves broken off, and I was like, I'm gonna burn these.
Sage.
Well, we were talking about demons earlier, so
Oh yeah.
Huh, maybe subconsciously that's why I did that.
Yeah, I'd never like try to say a name. If I do know like one's name, I'm not even for the movie. I'm not joking. Like I'm not trying to call
yeah,
it.
yeah, dude. That's so. I
don't do
for a
Ouija
long
boards either.
time-
We don't
nah,
do
fuck
none-
that shit. I don't. I
Mhm.
stay away. Stay
Ouija
away
boards
from
were
all
created by Hasbro.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. It's just maybe it's the
No,
superstition.
they are recreated and sold again by Hasbro, unless Hasbro is a company or a corporation or a family that has been around for generations, because they done had that shit in Black Magic time too. No,
It literally was invented by Hasbro as a fun party trick.
For real?
Yeah.
So then why do they work?
They don't. It's literally people subconsciously moving it around.
And we're pod testing. No, I'm just kidding.
I've done it before. It doesn't do
It's
anything.
because you don't believe. It's like Santa Claus.
Everyone else believed.
Huh.
Didn't do it. Doesn't. It just slides around.
That kind of makes me feel better. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's
Makes me feel a
garbage.
little bit better about it.
I still wouldn't want to.
Me either.
I don't want to. I
Bloody
don't
Mary
either.
doesn't work. In case you're
Oh.
wondering, I did that as a kid too. It didn't do shit.
You said what doesn't work?
Bloody Mary, like say it in the mirror.
Oh.
Blah blah blah. I did that as a kid.
Yeah.
It didn't do anything.
I tried that one too.
I was too scared. It made me
I-
just have to pee when I would be in the bathroom. I'm like,
Beetlejuice. Let's do that one.
That's a movie. That's a new movie. I
Did you
heard
see-
it's good.
did you see-
No,
oh, I
I
haven't
haven't
seen
yet.
either.
I want to. There's Beetlejuice and what's the other fucking one? I keep on blanking on the name.
is it like a scary movie?
The Joker.
Oh,
Beetlejuice and the Joker.
the Joker does not look. It doesn't look.
I really liked the first one, so I wanted to
There's
find out what
another
happened in
one?
the second. Yeah, I wanted to find out what happened in the second, and what really got me was Lady Gaga was in the second, and I was like, oh my god, I really liked her in A Star Is Born, so let me see what she's doing
But she's
with
singing.
the Joker too. That's what I was told. I was like, they made it a fucking musical, and they're like, yeah, it's gay. It's not okay.
But
They ruined it. Should just make a good
I mean,
story.
I'm not into like Batman like that or anything, but that just seems lame. Like with having her sing and like making a musical, I never want to see Batman or any of the superhero be
You're
musical.
not supposed to
Like,
sing and dance, man.
I mean, sort of. If you think about it from like the Joker's perspective, as like an unreliable narrator, because he is insane, it kind of makes sense. Like the story is just kind of wild and out
Then
there.
let it be wild and like.
I didn't
super
even think about
tense.
it that way.
and not really. What
I didn't
you'd
even think
expect.
about it through his like.
Yeah, like you're watching. You're seeing everything through his eyes. Essentially, is the way I'm thinking about it.
That would make more sense.
Yeah, you're experiencing his insanity essentially.
Hmm.
At least that's how I think about it.
I like the portrayal. Did you see the first one?
No,
Ah,
the
and
last Batman movie I seen was. I think it was The Dark Knight.
Oh,
Is that the one
that
with
was
the
a good one.
Joker? Which one had-
Yes,
yeah.
that was Heath Ledger.
Yeah,
It was Heath Ledger as the Joker.
that was a long movie.
It was a fucking
For me,
long
that was
movie.
I couldn't.
So the Joker films are really cool. They're not.
They're separate,
in
right?
my opinion,
it's a
yeah.
separate. Universe.
Yeah. In my opinion, they're not really Batman films because it's more so exploring the origin of the Joker. Yeah. And it has more of a real world aspect of it. It's not so comic booky. So in the first one, they did a really good job at depicting somebody that's going through mental health issues and struggling in the world, going through a whole bunch of different adversities. They made the movie feel like really tense. So basically, like that unsure, no structure. You don't really know what's gonna happen next, but you're really fucking tense all the time, and you're like kind of anxious watching the film. But that's also how the character was throughout the entirety of the film. So I really liked how they translated that in the first one. So I was hoping that they would kind of do that same thing in the second. And then when I heard it was a musical, I was like, that. I guess I'd have to see it to really.
It got 1.8 stars.
Yeah, I heard that, and I
Out
was
of
like,
5?
all right. So I'm pretty sure I'm right. Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm right.
That's 14,318 audience reviews.
Jesus
Oh
Christ.
wow! I'll watch it when it comes on a streaming service.
Yeah.
That'll probably be me.
Yeah. Now, what about Beetlejuice? How'd they do? Is that one worth the theater?
That one I heard that was good.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think they would say more of like a half and half.
Yeah.
Like-
I heard some people wanted to see Michael Keaton more. And then there was the note of they wanted to keep his screen time close to the original, which is like something like 15 minutes or something like that. So they did close to 15 minutes for the
yeah,
remake.
he really wasn't in the first one very.
Mm-mm.
His name was spoken way more than I feel like we've seen him.
I guess people just wanted him more was the one thing that I've seen as a note online.
I heard they're gonna make a third one. It's like
That'd be pretty cool.
They better do it quick because
Yeah.
actors are getting older.
Man. They've been dropping like flies, which is sad, but
Yeah, but and like with James Earl Jones just passed away.
yes, I was thinking that right now because so Ruben, pop culture weeb, he he like literally it was around like 3 weeks. It was like, they died. It's like, who died? He would say James Earl Jones, just like random names, and I would go, who's that? Did you know them? And he was like, yes, my entire childhood they voiced this, and that, and they died. And I was like, oh,
James
yeah, I
Earl
remember
Jones
those.
was the only one I knew out of all of the ones you've said.
Same.
That's Mufasa
Yeah.
and Vader.
Mm-hmm.
And Beetlejuice did anywhere from like 6.9 to 80.
On Rotten Tomato.
6.9 to 10 on IMDb, 77% Rotten Tomatoes, 80% on Fandango, and 86% of audience members liked it.
I didn't hear 1 point something, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Significantly
must
better.
be way better.
Did a lot better there. Yeah, films, art. It's great. There's so much different media.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. Why'd you land on drawing?
I don't know. I feel like that was the most natural. Like that was, even though I sucked. Obviously, when you first start drawing, we're kind of all. I think everyone draws. People are like, oh, I wish I could draw like you. You can. You just need to keep doing it.
Yeah, haven't
Like,
spent the time.
Yeah, like when you're bored, that's what you do. Not, and if it doesn't come natural to you, it's just not your. That's not your outlet or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I just started drawing, and going back to Inuyasha. Like literally I would try to like, I'm gonna draw Inuyasha, and as I'm watching it, drawing it, like just like looking, watching, and just copying like a lot of things. I just started liking it. My favorite cartoon show as a kid was Dexter's Laboratory. I loved,
hell yeah.
and I would pay attention to, like, looking back now from when I would watch as a kid, I was paying attention to the way everything was drawn, because I was like, dang, they're shortening, like looking back, they shortened a lot of what things looked like, but you understood what it was. And I'm like, that's so interesting how for cartoons like that style, you foreshorten a lot of things and to make things look bigger, or like there's more space. So that was like my show. And I think a lot of my earlier like little cartoons looked like that.
Interesting.
Painting I was always against too. Like I was like, I'm never going to be a painter. I suck at it. And then usually when I say I don't like something or I'm not good at it, I end up being good at it eventually. And I think that's maybe, I don't know what that is in me, but I just hate not being good at something that I'm interested in, you know?
Yes, I do know. I think I've came to peace with that though, because I was very similar. What made me have to come to peace with it is the guitar. I've never been able to figure out the guitar for the life of me. My hands just don't work in that way. And then now my hand literally just doesn't work in that way. And I just kind of had to accept, because I really liked the guitar. I thought it'd be really cool if I could play guitar and like ad-lib some words and like make up a song. I thought that'd be cool. But nope, I couldn't. I like legitimately couldn't do. I can play a chord. I can put my hand to a chord and I can play that chord over and over. But I can't move to another chord successfully. And I get it, practice too. But like it just.
And you play the piano, like fully play the piano?
Fuck no. I play the piano like I know what sounds are supposed to go good together, and I make things.
Do you have synesthesia?
Good. I don't know what that is, but I know I have almost perfect
pitch. Do sounds
pitch.
look like colors to you?
No.
No, okay.
I don't have those superpowers. I see a story in my head. I have that superpower. An ex-girlfriend of mine said it was my superpower, at least. But it doesn't, like, I was like, I don't think it's a superpower because it doesn't work all of the time.
What do you mean by story? Like,
So when you start describing things to me in your past, like I literally start playing it out, and like I can see the classrooms that you're walking into.
I do the same.
Yeah. Or like if you were to start pitching me an idea of something that you wanted to do, like I can start visually putting it together. Like that's just how my brain works. I'll start putting scenes together, and like I'm imagining camera angle, like stuff like that. So how we met was she was working on a project for a talent show, and this was during COVID, so it was like a mail-in talent show thing, and she was doing a music video, and she asked me to help her, and I was like, sure, what's your idea? And she was like, well, this is the song that I want to use, and she put the song on. It was See You Again, and like LA had just closed down, and she was like, I want to go to all these like iconic LA spots, and like kind of showing that like I know that you're closed, but like I can't wait to see you again. I was like, okay, cool. But like when she was telling me this and she was telling me the iconic spots she wanted to go to, in my brain I was like, okay, cool. Like I already know those places look like, and I was plotting stuff out in my mind, and I was like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit this, and this, and the scenes are gonna play out like this. And she was like, you have a superpower, you can see things. And I was like, nope. No, I don't. She was like, you do, though. You do. And we did really good on that project. And then I think there's a chance that she might have gotten infatuated with that aspect of me, because that led to us being in a relationship, because she wanted to be with me and talk to me like almost all the time. And to be fair, there was an attraction there, and I appreciated the attention. So I was like, cool, I'll entertain this. And then the second time she was like, I need to do another song. Like people are hitting me up. They're like, yo, that was so good. You need to do something else. So like I need to ride this momentum. And I was like, cool, do it. She was like, but like, what do you think I should do? Like you have the vision. And I was like, you should do whatever you want to do. I think that's what you should do. She was like, okay, well, this is the song that I like. I want to do this song. And like, this is what I'm thinking. Like, I don't know, like earth and like wind and like maybe outside and like super nature and like in touch with myself. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, so we can for sure find some outdoor places. I was like, what type of outdoor are you talking about? She's like, I don't know, like something naturey. And like, are you getting any visions? And I'm like,
you're like, you need to give me a little bit more.
yeah, I'm like, what do you mean visions? And she was like, use your superpower. And by this time she started calling me Poppy, but she was white. So she'd go like, she'd be like, use your superpowers, Poppy. And I'm like, that's not how this works, but all right. So Poppy. Yeah, that was fun.
That's funny.
Yeah, the way, so.
Because you need, I understand that.
Yeah.
You need, yeah, you have to give me some more elements here. Like
I get outside, I get wind.
Is there food you want?
Dirt.
Like, there, do you want to be in this direct sun? Are you trying to be somewhere shaded? Like,
true. Are you silhouetted? What's the whole like before you had a whole idea of you want to display the city and show that you can't wait to see them again. I was like, okay, cool. That's a legit story. I could work with that. This one is like, I want me in essence and outside.
It's just like tossing the things on the wall.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. And that ended up leading to a very tense session. We ended up going to Joshua Tree, and during the whole beginning, because I was still uncertain of what we were gonna do, but we had decided Joshua Tree because she loved the elements of like deserty, but there's still some foliage and then a lot of rock structure. And I was like, okay, so Joshua Tree's not far. We can go for the weekend. Like, it's all cool, but I still didn't exactly know how we were gonna do shit. And I was still working on like my own stuff. Like I do creative writing. So at the time, I took my notebooks and stuff that I was working on. Actually, at the time, I was writing on I was writing a short that I later shot. So I had taken that, and I was going through my notes and making adjustments and stuff. And she was like, I just feel like you're not as invested in my project as you should be. And I was like, what do you mean? I just drove us all the way out here to Joshua Tree. I fucking booked this place for the weekend. Like, I have all my fucking gear. Like, I'm here. I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, well, like, last time you had, like, all this vision and inspiration, like, things to add to, like, my idea. And now there's, like, nothing. And I'm like,
well, that's really selfish of her.
Yeah.
At least it sounds like that to me.
Looking back at it, yes. But I was like, okay, well, I'm still really unsure of the message that you're trying to portray with this video and song. So I don't exactly know how to shoot it yet. And she was like, wow, you're just telling me that, like, I don't even know my vision to try and, like, delay us and this and that. And I was like, no. I was like, no, what is it that you're trying to achieve with this song? What do you want to do? And I remember her going, like, I want people to love it as much as the last one. And I was like, okay, well, what does this song mean to you? And she goes, well, it makes me think of, like, growing up as a woman. I was like, all right, There you go. Thank you. You gave me at least something to fucking do something with. And I was done with the conversations. I was like, great. I'm going to run with this as much as I can. And then I basically did, like when Rihanna would do those music videos where it wasn't like super hypersexualized, but it was like very sexy and seductive, but it didn't really have a meaning or purpose.
Like S&M, like that music video.
Yeah,
Or
you're
like,
just like, that was hot.
Okay, yeah.
So I just did that because I was like, that. I don't know. That's all I could really get from. And so I showed her when we were done, and she was like, "This is good, but like it doesn't have like the same essence that the last one had. Like where your vision's not that strong." And I was like, "I didn't have any." She was like, "What do you mean? You have superpowers. Are you not using them?" And I was like, "No."
What?
It's like, no. It's like, I don't have superpowers. It's like, I'm good with the camera and I have a creative mind. Like, the information that you gave me, that's the best that I could do. You said you wanted something that showed you growing up as a woman. And I didn't know you growing up. I know you as a woman and you're sexy. So I made this sexy. And she was like, well, thanks for helping. I was like, you're fucking welcome.
Wow.
You're fucking welcome. And we ended up separating shortly after. That relationship did not last long.
It didn't sound like it was going to. The way that was so.
Oh, yeah.
That sucks that she wasn't appreciative of that.
It's okay. You live and you learn. And you also, I mean, it's interesting meeting people that claim to be creatives or artists, but ultimately leech off of creatives and artists. It's almost like that the projection, right? You put yourself around somebody that does that so you can feel that is you, even though you're not the one that's actually doing.
Yeah, they don't want to do the work that it takes to get to your skill level of like what makes it look so easy. Cause like I've worked this hard to get it to this point.
Yeah.
So I make it look easy because I'm at this point where everything looks easy because I already know what to do.
I've done all the dumb shit already. I've made plenty of stuff that looks stupid. It's just you never saw any of it. You just see what I can do now. Do you have a least favorite piece that you've made?
Oh, probably. Yeah. Probably.
Tossed, huh?
Either tossed or repainted. I do repaint over things sometimes.
Really?
Especially when I found out that that's what way older artists used to do. But they used to do it because they didn't have money to pay for new canvases.
That's smart.
So they would just...
I mean, same. Stuff's not cheap.
Yeah, and I don't use expensive canvas either. Unless somebody's like commissioning something.
Yeah.
Then I'll ask like all the right questions. Like, well, do you want this to be like? Do you want it to last, or do you want it to be something that's like kind of just like off the cuff kind of a thing? And if they want something expensive, then I'll pay for like a really good canvas. But that could be like $100 depending on.
Well, that's what
the
I was
size.
thinking. I was like, it makes sense. Some of those canvases are pretty pennies.
And it really makes a difference on like how it holds like the color too. Really? If you just because the cheaper it is too, that's why you have to paint over it more and more to get the white not to be in the background still.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Bro, I got so fed up with canvas so fast. I tried to transition from pencil and colored pencil. So I really, really liked working with pencil and then going over with colored pencil. Tried to transition to acrylic on canvas, and I was like, this is
it takes a long time.
I was like, nope, I could not. I made, I think, like 2 canvases. Nah, dude.
It does take a long time.
3 coats for one color in one section before I can even move on to the next layer.
Have you used oil yet?
I was like, done. I checked out.
Nicholas bought me some oil paintings, and I have not yet used the paint. I've had it for like 3 years because I know it's such like you have to wait so long for everything to dry. I'm like, I don't have the patience, but it looks so good when you're good at it. It looks almost photorealistic because of the way the paint dries. So I'm like, dang, this is another tedious skill.
A hair dryer.
Ooh, I use that for watercolor sometimes.
I use oils when I paint miniatures sometimes, and I use a hair dryer to dry everything hella fast. Yeah,
that makes sense.
I forget about that.
I'm impatient as fuck.
Makes a lot of sense.
I didn't even think of that.
Did you ever sand your canvases, or have you ever done that?
No, what is that?
I don't know. I was hoping you could tell me. I've seen some people do it online, but I don't really know what it does. Or
maybe it gives it a maybe it helps give it like a little bit of a textured, like weathered look, and they paint on top of it, so it makes it look like it's an older thing. Maybe.
From the comments, what I've read is it smooths, like its only purpose is to smooth the surface. That was like the only information that I could find, and I was like, okay, that's not very helpful. I guess.
I kind of want my canvas to have texture, though. I feel like that makes it look better.
I have no idea. So to be fair, I did only search the comments. Then I was like, "Whoop, moving on."
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sure Google search would probably provide a lot more than just like it gives you a smooth surface. For printing, I know the smoother the surface, the better your print will come out for sure. And then with embroidery, the more taut the material is, the easier it is for the stitches to go down.
It looks like they mostly do a sanding after laying down a first layer of like gesso, like a primer. They'll prime it and then do.
I get it, to flatten out the paint.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have a flat surface after you prime it or you lay down your first surface. Yeah. Makes sense, I guess. Because I know, well, at least for acrylics, gesso can be really thick and it can set kind of unevenly.
I never paint I never paint white on my canvas first. Like, I think a lot of people do that, right? They paint white first.
I know for acrylic you use like a gesso, which is just like a really thick white paint.
Oh, I never do that.
But you do watercolor, right?
I do watercolor, acrylic.
I don't ever do anything when I do watercolor. Just go straight onto paper or canvas or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it must just be if you're doing acrylic or something.
Very interesting.
Kind of. It is. Oh, acrylic or oil painting, it says.
Oh,
Interesting.
yeah.
I would have never known.
Acrylic is fun, but it's like you have to be good with like seeing past the image. Do you know what I mean? Like I see how you look right now, but I can't pay attention to what you look like. I have to like pay attention to how the light is hitting you here with the shadow under your hat. Like, because if I pay attention to how you look, I'm gonna focus on like the drawing aspect versus like the color aspect. So you have to do both like at the same time. You're like constantly like, does it look the same? Okay, but the shade, like, because if you don't, it'll look like what type of wonky. That's like something I've noticed like with acrylic. You have to really do two things at once consistently.
It seems like a lot of brain power.
It is. I think that's why. I think that's why a lot of artists get like distracted because they're like, I can do it, but they're like, dang, it's gonna take so much brain power to do this.
Yeah.
So much not getting distracted either to then move on to something different, which is normally happens to me with acrylics now.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tend to lean into the projects where I just lock in. If I can just, there's a little sweet spot. I like to call it the pocket because it works for music, and then I translated from music to running. Because when you run, there's like a specific like rate you can move your feet at relative to how fast your heart and lungs are pumping, to where you just no longer feel like anything is actually working. You're just kind of flowing through space. When I get into that zone, I call it like, all right, I'm in the pocket, and I can just kind of maintain that. For art or creativity, anytime I'm in the pocket, I try and just stay there for as long as I possibly can because I'm in a really good flow and my mind is working well. And it's a bad habit, but I end up finding myself like at 4 o'clock. I'm like, all right, cool, I got a lot done. I'm like, oh, it's fucking 4. And then I got to go to sleep and wake up. But anytime I just get that fucking juice, I run with it.
I feel like I haven't done that in a long time. Like I time everything so much now, and I think that's horrible for art. Like at least for me, like for being creative.
Yeah, for being creative, yes. For skill growth, I don't think so.
Yeah, but well, at least for my situation right now, I feel like that's what's damaging my like creative flow. I don't paint like as much as I normally would because all my stuff is going to school. All my brain power is going to it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I have to make time to like, even to just do sketches for 30 minutes. And then it's like, then I have to do this. And I'm like starting to think I have to do this and this. And it's like before I started school, was like, well, okay, I'm home. I don't want to go to bed. I guess I'll just draw. And then with school, it kind of just takes that away from me. So I kind of miss that, like, in the pocket situation that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I feel like I was doing that a lot more before, but
Yeah. It
yeah.
is trickier to do when you're asked to do art.
Mm-hmm.
Forcing creativity is
And it's something you don't want to do. You're like, I don't really feel
yeah.
this. I'm not feeling this project,
Yeah.
but you have to do the project. You're like, eh.
And now you're working a lot with digital media.
Mm-hmm. Which I think I've gotten a lot better in, but I procrastinate it so fiercely for some reason. I don't know why. Like,
What's been your least favorite aspect of digital creation?
That I can't remember I can't remember all like the this to this or this to that. Like I have to constantly like go back. Like I literally have my laptop and have another monitor just for to watch, because I can't do it all on one, and
Yeah.
that's what because I'm like, this is slowing me down, and I know my brain can grasp it. I just don't know everything yet, and it's irritating that I'm like, I know I can do this faster, but I'm just not as familiar. But I do, like, for digital, like, drawing, I use Procreate. I don't use Adobe, and I don't tell my teachers that either. I'm like, and they're like, these illustrations are so good. I'm like, thanks. And they're all thinking of doing it on Illustrator. I'm like, I can't do that shit on there.
Hilarious, dude.
You just need to know how to format it, and you can transfer it over easily. If you don't have to
That's true.
edit it once it's in Illustrator again, your image won't be warped or anything. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna work harder. I'm gonna use my skills, like, you know what I mean, the stuff I'm good at.
Do you have a drawing pen?
I do. I've gone through 2 of them.
Sick.
Like, I drop it
Damn.
all the time.
Oh,
And
I thought
it hits the.
dude, they're so sensitive.
Yeah, I'm like, for $100, these better be a little more
they're
sturdy.
Not. They're not. We've seen at least like 5 people come in, and the pens are just smashed.
Do you fix them?
What happened? No, I tell you to go buy a new one. Tell you to go buy a new one.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even try. I'm like, I'm just gonna buy a new one if it happened, but hopefully it hasn't happened in a while. But I do like doing digital stuff on the iPad, because I feel like it's better than click 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 turn click click. Like, this is like, I'm still putting myself into it, and it gets my character more than using like Illustrator. But Illustrator is good for like logo. I do like logo design, even though I'm not good at it yet, but I'm very interested in how they shortcut things. Like, if you have like a cheeseburger and a tree, and somehow somebody makes it like a really cool design, then you're like, oh shit, that's so cool. I'm just fascinated with that. That's something I want to get good at.
That's wizardry,
right?
That I know nothing of.
It's all about making everything simplistic, and I'm over here wanting to detail it. And that's my natural go-to, is to over detail.
That's funny. I've, since the beginning of this year, rewired my brain to take a design, simplify it, and then redetail it.
Okay.
Because it's easier to start with simple objects, with stitches, and then once it's all turned into stitches, adjust any detailing that I need, or add details manually.
Do you remember? Do you ever have to write down your process, or you just can remember like what you did for the process?
Everything is all off of memory.
That's pretty cool.
It comes with a lot of repetition. I pretty much put myself through boot camp, where like from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep, I was just doing that. It also helped that as soon as I was informed that I had to learn this skill, I was also given an itinerary to an expo to listen and learn under some of the greatest people in the industry. So for 4 days straight, from like 9 to 3 o'clock, I was just in seminars absorbing information and taking notes on my phone. And my method is I always try and start and do everything from memory, but once I get to a point that I can't remember my next step, or if I did it wrong and I have to go back, then I'll refer to any notes or video content that I was using or anything like that. Like now looking back, I try and force myself to use memory first, because I feel like that's how you make those connections and keep them. And then after that, it's just like mental checks. Like, for me to get all the way into my Stitch software, usually I'll start in Photoshop. I'll take whatever image I'm working with into Photoshop, make sure that the objects are all individual colors, so that I can take it into Illustrator and trace it and make sure I have all smooth pathways. And to create pathways,
See, I'm so bad at that. I get so frustrated.
tracing is tricky. So image trace, there is 2 main things you need to pay attention to, and then there's one that can help or make it worse depending on it. It's like a fine tuner. So there is, I think it's paths and corners, if I'm not mistaken. Paths, the higher you increase your number, the tighter the trace will be to the outline of whatever your image is. The lower the number, the less it'll follow, so it might not be exact. And then corners, the higher the number, the more corners, so the more jagged your image will come out, and the lower the number, the more rounded your image will come out. So you have to use those.
Isn't it curves and corners? So you have like slide between the two or something like that.
Something. I know there's 2.
I know what you're talking about, though. Yeah.
But you have to use those and find the balance for whatever image you're working with, because there's some where I've literally dropped the corners to like 0, and I've ripped the paths as high as I can, and it looked great. Like, that's what I needed, because it was a really sharp cornered type of design. And then there's some where I'm not only pumping up the paths, but also pumping up the corners, because it's like really bubbly and I want it to follow everything exact. And then the next thing you can do is, I think it's threshold or noise. You can play with those, and what it does is it tells the program to pick up more or less pixels.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know what noise or that did.
Yeah. So that's what those do. Make sure that's under the advanced, like on all the advanced. And at the very bottom, I personally like to click off preview, because every adjustment you'll make, it'll re-fucking trace. So I click preview off so that I can make my adjustments of like, okay, I think this is what it needs, and then I'll retrace it so I can see. And then if you don't want any white in your image, but there is white, so okay. When you go to trace, if you have something
You're trying to mask
with
it
the background,
like, there's no transparent.
yes, but if you bring in something with a background and it's a white background, but your image also has white, and you want to delete the white, there's the ignore white button, right? If you just keep that in mind in Photoshop, either delete your background or change whatever the white object is to a different color. That's for me, at least, because when I go take it into the Stitch program, I can change the color in there anyways. So I always try and use any color other than white. But I'll get my, so once my trace is down, then I expand the image so that each color is its own individual object. So that once I take, and I have to export it as an SVG. I don't know what SVG stands for, but I take an SVG into the software is called Chroma.
Something vector graphic. Hold on.
This is exactly where my mind went to afterwards. I was like, vector is probably in there.
All of the graphic design terms that I pretend to know in class, I'm like,
Scalable vector graphics.
Scalable. Yeah, okay. That makes sense, because you can make it smaller
and
or
it
make
won't,
it as
it won't
large.
pixelate or
Correct.
distort.
It retains all of its parameters.
Yeah, that's one of the bad things about Procreate. It's when you take it out, don't change the size, because sometimes it's just like.
Oh, I know. We have people that send us artwork from all different programs, but for the print world, you need specific details. So, like, if it's digital art, you want, if not an SVG, a PNG, and it needs to be 300 DPI.
Oh yeah, I always do. I've looked that up so often now. I know it needs to be 300 for sure for like standard, right?
Yeah. Anytime you want anything you go to print, if you're submitting to somebody that does business cards, postcards, t-shirts, whatever, like industry standard for printing is 300 DPI. And if you send something that's really fucking small and you ask for it to be big, it's gonna look not fucking good.
Not the same.
Mm-mm. Yeah, we've had plenty of people where we email them back. we're
Rookie
like,
mistake.
Hey, yeah.
Even for me, I'm like, that's a rookie mistake. You should
Me
always
too.
check it first.
But still to date, I've
Spelling mistakes are the best. We got one just recently.
That's so
Oh,
hard.
yeah.
That's so hard for me.
that was great.
Why doesn't
Great.
Photoshop or Illustrator have spell check in it? I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
I don't know.
All this power we have, we choose to still leave.
I don't know. I stopped trusting everything, and if I'm doing text, I just type it out on my laptop in notes because
I had that same thing. I have it out first. I'm like, okay, it's right. Copy paste, and then I edit the font. And
I trust
all
Siri. I trust Siri.
that.
Siri and Gmail, actually. Gmail does really good.
Gmail. I don't use. See, I'm horrible at emails.
Oh.
Horrible at doing emails.
I don't do very many emails.
My brain doesn't have the space to like. I should check my emails today. There's like 1,000. There's like 1,000. I'm not even kidding you. And then by the time I'm like, well, I'm not arrested yet, so I guess nothing was important that got mailed to me. So
it's actually very true. Most important things are going to show up to the resident address on your ID.
Yeah, that's why I'm always like, it's all junk essentially until it gets to me physically.
Pretty much.
For now, still, until they one day maybe change that.
You just knock on the door.
Like, I don't know. I didn't have access to my password.
Like, what about the letters that we sent you? Like, I didn't get a single one, dude.
What email?
What email? The one in Gmail. You're like, dude, I don't have Gmail. Come
Do you
on.
remember when?
Wrong.
Well, do you remember when internet was mailed to us?
Internet was mailed?
Mhm.
No.
No.
What do you mean?
No. Am I that old?
What do you mean? Internet was mailed to you?
You got your AOL disc. It was mailed to you,
What?
and you had to install it into the computer.
Do you remember that?
No.
Mhm.
I remember, yeah.
Once a month, you get the new update.
That's pretty crazy. They were updating the internet once a month with the disc.
Like
the software
yeah.
you used. Because there was no like, oh, let me
Yeah.
download this update from
Yeah.
server. No, you had to get a physical update. You had either had to subscribe or go into the store every month and buy updates.
Yep,
That's
yep.
crazy.
Yeah, it was weird. Weird time.
That's fucking crazy.
That was you couldn't unless you had like a special setup. You couldn't be on the house phone and you could not be on Club Penguin and on the phone at the same time.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. See, my latest knowledge is floppy disks.
Oh
'Cause
yeah, I had those. We were still.
yeah.
I feel like we were still using that then.
Yeah. My first PC game was a floppy disk. It was
Harry
like
Potter?
Nat Geo. Nah. It was like
Mine
Nat
was Harry
Geo's
Potter,
Explorer or
Sorcerer's
some
Stone.
shit. That's crazy. I remember that. That was like my first or one of my first PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 games. Because we had a PlayStation 1, and I know for sure A Bug's Life was on that. And then we got a PlayStation 2, and that's when all the cooler games happened. But yeah, I remember playing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone because I always thought it was super cool because wizards and magic. I
you
just couldn't
walked
fucking read the
around,
book. Yeah.
all pixelated. You look back now, you're like, dang, these graphics are trash.
But at the time, we were like, this looks like the shit.
I seen
yo.
I seen somebody made like one of those like and I guess not a meme video, but they were doing like a comparison video, and they're like, millennials are the only ones who are okay with like playing classic games and new like visuals because we remember where we were when we had these, so we can go back and play actual retro games because we have the space in our brain for it. And like younger kids are like, they're less likely to because they need the graphics versus like the game.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm excited to be 80
So
and still play games.
Some of my current favorite games are really poor graphics.
What is it?
Well, like, what was the recent one that I played? Animal Well, I think is what it was. It was a
Animal Well.
platformer. It's literally just pixel art. Yeah. A lot of games have been going that way, and they're always really good.
I do like a pixel type of a game.
Sometimes it's the simple things, man.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it really is. Like peace and quiet out in nature. That's one of the best things.
You know, I've done it before.
You're like, not for me.
I mean, I like the aspect of like going camping, but is the hotel like a couple like?
It's
Like,
very
was
fair.
that a coyote?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna get in the car.
See, I'm not afraid of the animals or anything. Like I feel like I have enough knowledge of like wildlife. Like
Mhm.
I can make it through a night, but I just don't like not having a bed, running
It's
water.
the comfort aspect.
That's what it
I
is.
feel it.
Like if
feel it.
we were like glamping with like a nice
No, yeah.
whatever
I
car
agree.
situation or whatever.
it's nice.
Hmm.
Comfort is definitely nice.
I would cook out there. I'm totally down to do all that. Like I'm not gonna
Mm.
skin the fish or whatever, but I'll catch it.
I'll skin it. I don't mind it. Actually, it's funny enough. There's moments when I'm making hats and there's backing. It's like a structure that you put in the back so that the stitches have something to hold on to, and then you tear away the excess. And there's some designs where it reminds me of gutting a fish. Yeah, it's really interesting. So it's kind of cool, but
Yeah.
like I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh. it's
Nature's
kinda
a
like
fun
fishy.
place to draw. Like just sit there, you
Dude.
hear all the nature sounds.
I used to go right. I would go sit on at the beach actually. You know, the Seal Beach, the rock jetty. I would sit there and write. You would draw in nature?
Yeah. The last time I went to Sequoia, I took my sketchbook and I was drawing while we were there. Whenever we could,
That's cool.
it was fun. I love Sequoia. That's probably my favorite forest.
Sequoia. Yeah. Sequoia is beautiful.
The tree,
Been to
just like the
Sequoia many
trees.
times. Yes. The what is it? General Grant?
Mhm.
Grand General
Sherman.
Troops? Fucking
Sherman.
Sherman. Yes. Big as fuck.
It puts you into perspective with like Earth. I feel like because you're around. You're like, and it still keeps going and going. You're like, damn.
It's really funny when people go, "Yeah, I saw that tree and it made me feel a certain way." Like that statement sounds weird, right? But then you see this tree, and you're like, "Okay,
Yeah. You're like,
Yeah.
if you could talk, what would like?
what did you see?"
Yeah, you've been around for thousands of years and you're still here.
What's crazy is it looks like it's lost some height. Like when I
Maybe.
saw it, it looked like it had been chopped at some point because it's too, like when you think of a tree, it like cones up at the top and then it has a point, but this tree does not. It's just a fucking fat trunk that goes up and then just
Maybe
sprawls
I know
out.
they get struck by lightning a lot, but I know like the way their what's it called bark, the way their bark is,
Yeah.
it doesn't stay on fire. So maybe like
Yeah.
it eventually like got hit so much it starts like decomposing at the top or something.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, the bark thing is fucking trippy. That it's their
it feels
defense.
fuzzy too. Like it's
Yes,
just so weird, fuzzy tree.
I heard that once they lose their bark, they don't grow it back. So
Oh, that's why it looks like a scar inside. You know how it's like soft and. Ugh.
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, the last time we went, we seen a deer and we seen a little baby deer without the mom. So we were like, we don't need to get attacked by a deer right now. And we seen like a deer. I think we seen like a bear in the distance, like a black bear or whatever.
Mount.
Yeah, the
Check it
trail
out.
we were walking, I was like, this seems like a really advanced trail. We were like up in the mountain, like just like walking around. No, there was nobody around for like, it was probably like a 5-hour hike before going
Nice.
back to where, and we were kind of at the point of like, we got to hurry up because the sun's going to go down soon.
Damn.
And I didn't want to be stuck in, because that forest, I'm sure at nighttime you can't even see anything once you're underneath it.
Nope. It's dark, especially if the moon isn't. If what is it? If it's not a full moon, it's gonna be real dark out there. Real fucking
What's
dark.
it called? What is the meadow that we were into? That was so cool. I never really understood what a meadow was.
Was it
But
Pocket
just-
Meadow?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I made camp twice
Nice.
when I went backpacking. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's so weird. Like you're just there and you just see trees all around. It was
Just
fun. That was
open grass.
so fun.
Or flowers. I think the last meadow I came across in Sequoia. I don't remember the name because we were just driving this big open area, and I told Alex to pull over. We got out, and the first step I took into this space, you just see the ground, a whole bunch of things jumping, a whole bunch of jumping spiders.
Ooh,
She was crazy, wild.
spiders.
You would look down and you would see a whole bunch of little shimmering blue and green things. It was all their eyes. It's crazy. Super cool though. It was during spring.
Yeah, that sounds. See, I like all that. Like, I don't not like spiders and bugs and stuff, but that still excites me. Like for a scene situation, like to see what's
just to
going
see
on.
it and experience it.
Mhm.
I didn't like it either. It's Like my thought was like, I really fucking hope none of them are
Were you
jumping
wearing
on
pants
me.
or shorts?
I was wearing pants.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't want to take any of these with me.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, it looked like they were all going away as I stepped. Like they're trying not to get smushed. Pretty much is what it looked like. So I was like, all right, that's cool. But at the same time, I was like, I don't fucking like this. I'm not a fan of things crawling on me.
Yeah, I don't have a. Would you say you don't like bugs? Like bugs are not your thing, or?
I don't mind them per se. I find them really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I never had a hatred before, but now I have one so strong that I will destroy any spider. I woke up in the middle of the night, bit 3 times by a spider.
Oh, okay. Was it still on you?
It was on my bed, and it was like this, the size of a quarter, and it was looking at me with its 2 legs up, and I fucking grabbed a paper towel and I smushed it so far. I was fucking angry, bro.
Oh.
It bit me here, and then here, and then here.
Damn, it's like it's walking on you. What is it biting you for?
I don't know. The only thing I could think
I guess
was
it's a
like,
bug.
Yeah, the only thing I could think was maybe I was rolling around in my sleep and it thought I was trying to fuck it up. But I looked it up and it was a hobo spider, and apparently,
Hobo spider.
Yeah, they're indigenous to this region.
Are they poisonous?
They are
Deadly or just like inflamed?
deadly. If you'd have to have like hundreds of the bites, but their toxin, I think, is a neurotoxin. It affects the nerves. So it felt like radiating hot. If you've ever been bit by a fire ant,
Probably.
okay. So think of like a fire ant on steroids, and then for me, I guess because I was bit right here on my neck and on the shoulder, I had a shooting like sharp pain from like back here behind my ear all the way down into my elbow. And it fucking sucked. It was like a cool week and a half. After that, I was like,
oh, not
fuck
even a
all
day.
spiders. Nah, shit lasted long. I was like sore.
Did you go to you actually went to the doctor for it too, or
No,
or
I
just
didn't.
like
Yeah, I did my Google
like
research.
I'll see what happens.
Dude, so I saw this spider middle of the night. It was brown, ugly, and big, and I'm like half asleep. It was maybe like 2-3 in the morning. So I smush it already, and then I go, fuck, what kind of spider was it that bit me? I gotta figure this out, because like if it's a
Now
really
you're over
bad
there
one,
trying to like.
yeah, I did. I
crime scene.
opened it up and I was like, so I did one of these. So there was like,
you were.
I was mad,
You're rubbing it out of
dude.
existence.
Yeah, I was fucking
Back
I was
to
one of
dust.
those, bro. Yeah.
It's funny. It says that hobo spiders are not aggressive unless catching prey or when trapped against a person's skin. These are the only cases in which it may bite.
Makes sense.
And where was it? Against the skin?
Against my skin.
Hobo spider venom is not toxic to humans, but some people may experience a skin reaction. So you were just really lucky.
Yeah. That was
Skin
good.
reaction for sure.
I was allergic to that bitch spider. Fuck that spider. Yeah, I was very concerned for my well-being, and I was like, damn it, it was brown. I know that. Brown, recluse. I'm gonna die.
You would have felt
But-
it a lot faster,
yeah.
I feel like, too.
I was like, brown recluse, and it was like Australia. I was like, okay, it's not that. All right,
Yeah, we're safe for now until.
good.
Let's hope that doesn't
Till I'm
cross
down
over.
under. Oh, please no. I hope not. I worked at Pier 1 Imports for a while, and I opened a box from the Congo or some shit like that. It legit fucking... And
Spider.
there was indeed a spider at the bottom of the box.
Huge. Oh no, tarantula. It starved.
I was so happy.
God.
I was so happy. And I called over my coworkers, and I was like, y'all want to see something? All chicks. I was like, y'all want to see something? They were like, what is it? And I was like, it's a new item that we got. And they're like, what? No way. Big old spider.
And they screamed.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was so happy. I stood there with the big old smile on my face laughing. Ha 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 ha.
But you're like, I'm only laughing because it was already dead and I found
Yeah.
it.
It scared the shit out of me though.
Oh, God.
'Cause it was like a box maybe like this big.
Like I get you. I don't want to have
Yeah.
to. I don't want to have to handle them or actually kill it. Because when they're that big, they're gonna fight back a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's like, ooh.
Good.
You know, like a camel spider, the ones in.
No.
God,
Those are like this big.
those are scary, and they're. Ugh.
I'm good, dude. I appreciate the fact that we're much larger than insects.
They used to be big too back in the day.
Don't say
Did
that.
you know?
Nope, don't say that. I don't like that. Don't tell me that.
There was way more oxygen in there. They
Nah,
could
That's
stop
literally
that.
the only reason they're smaller now, because the oxygen level went down.
Mm-hmm.
Trees got smaller, so did they.
There was like a dragonfly. Its wingspan was like this long. I swear. I kid
That
you
thing
not.
could eat you.
Yeah, probably carry you away.
That's not cool.
But humans weren't around when they were around.
No.
Mammals were like at the bottom of the food chain at that point.
Oh my god. No, that's I see a praying mantis, and
You know
I
they
just
eat
imagine one of those
hummingbirds
big-
too.
Yes.
I will kill a praying mantis over a hummingbird. I want my hummingbirds.
Same. I agree. Hummingbirds are nice.
Yeah, we need pollinators, man. Like
Facts. But if you think about it, if you remove the pollinators, then you eventually remove the bugs, right? Because there's no plants.
and also there'll be no fruits, no vegetables. You have to
See, I knew there was a flaw to that thought process.
to
I knew
do
it.
pollinating ourselves would take so much
A
time.
whole bunch of little Q-tips. And then you have to hope,
Right?
right?
Like dragon fruit is so expensive in Cherimoya, and there's a few other ones, but those have to be hand pollinated.
Interesting. So how would they get pollinated in the wild then?
I actually have a chamoya tree at my parents' place, and my dad
There's
has
a
to.
specific species of moth in Asia that
Oh.
does the dragon
okay.
fruit, and I think the same thing for Cherimoya.
That makes sense.
It's
I
a
was thinking
very
that
specific insect to the area.
this is just not here. That makes sense.
Yeah, there's
pretty
like
crazy.
some certain flowers too that only like certain hummingbirds can get to because their noses.
Mm.
A lot of really cool evolution situation. That's why I think maybe I'm interested in animals too, because it's like there's like an art form to how they were created or whatever, you know, like they're specifically for these certain things.
Yeah. So this is perfect to let you know of my thought on the cycle of life. 'Cause you know the saying that art imitates life, and people always say that imitation is the best form of flattery. So if art is imitating life, then would that not mean that life is art?
That's very true.
And when you're in the act of art, what needs to take place in order for art to happen? We've been using the word creativity a lot, right? Art is creation. In creation, the essence of it, for me, I went to the biblical term of creation. Creation is life. Creation is God. It is all. But if creation is life, we just concluded that life is art, but then art is also creation. It's an endless cycle. It's all one in itself. So you can't have one without the other. That's why everything works so perfectly together. And you take one cog out and everything falls.
Do you are you more of a you choose your own fate, or like it's already everything's predetermined what's going to happen?
Both. You're choosing the reality that you choose to step into. Everything, essentially, so how we were talking about earlier, everything that could happen has already happened. It's just you've chosen one option that fixes you to this path that you're experiencing. So that's what gives you the free will. But down this path, there's things that are going to happen that because you made this, just like a butterfly effect, because you made this choice, X, Y, and Z will come into play. But if you would have made a different choice, then W, F, and B would have happened. You know, so yes, and no.
Kind of like there's a fork in the road for like everything. You
Exactly.
like, what am I going to do?
Exactly. And each road has its set path. So yes, I believe that there is a set path, but you also choose the path that you walk down. And with that, to add on, I would say like canon events, like there's things that you just can't control in your life that are going to happen to you, like losing somebody that's close to you. You can't do anything about that. The best you can do is come to peace and make terms with you're going to no longer have this person in your life one day. You know? So that would be my answer.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess that comes from my view of the world and how I do things is, I have an outline, but I'm ready to adapt to anything that happens.
Okay.
Yeah, so that kind of falls in play on, I guess, why I view it as like you have a choice, but there's also a fixed path.
Mm-hmm. I think I can relate with that. That seems pretty. It seems like how I would feel about it too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's kind of like if this is what you want, you can get here. But like you said, there's certain things that no matter what's gonna happen, you're gonna age.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna, like you said, lose people, and then you're gonna die one day.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be part of life.
It will be.
There's some life lessons you're gonna learn regardless of whatever your path is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's those are things that I like to call truths of the world.
There's this thing in one of my classes we did. It's called the hero's path,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone has one. It's like the call to action, like what you're meant to do. What movies, how they make like create movies and stories, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever felt like there was, or that your life fell into an arc, or that you identified with one of the like story layouts from the way people look at it? Because I know there's hero's journey. Then I forget all the terms, but I know exactly what you're talking about. It's a full wheel,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all basically following protagonist going through something. His hero's journey is what constantly struggling through hardship and then finally having your test.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another one that's like is like having something horrible happen, so then you have to become the best so that you can protect people from, like, that's another arc. There is, I think another one is like is very similar to like preconceived notion, like
Mm-hmm.
you're living up to a thing.
So would I feel like? Do I feel like I have one of those, or I'm living through one of them?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe kind of, I don't know if I could say which one it would be, but I do sometimes have a sense of like, I don't know if this is answering your question, like a sense of importance. Like there's something I'm gonna do. Like I feel like there's something I'm gonna do that's kind of like important.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make myself be like small, if that makes sense. Like I'm trying to, I guess, keep my ego in check. Like
Yeah.
I feel like there's something I'm gonna do. Like I don't know what it is, but it's gonna make some kind of an impact. I've always felt like that, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I know it has to do with art. So that's why I'm like, it feels so natural to me. So that's why I'm like, there's something, I don't know what it is. And I'm trying to remind myself, like, if there's not, you're just having a human experience. But it feels, maybe it's like a motivator, like a inside self motivational thing. But I don't know. I feel like kind of like that. Do you feel like you live a trope?
When I was younger, I always felt like I was the center of everything, probably until I was 18, and then I had the realization that everyone is living their own uniquely individual life.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, then I felt like I would have periods of time in my life where I was going through a trope. Not so much that like I was living one, but it's like this section, like this has happened and I'm aiming to achieve this, and this is the lesson that is for this period of time. Mm-hmm. But exactly what you described, I felt that too, which is, I was going to ask, like, if you felt that same way. Like there's a period of times where like, okay, I am living a trope, like, okay, this is my journey of whatever. So one I can think of in high school, before I became a captain on the soccer team, I was the benched goalie. But in my mind, I should have been the starting goalie because I was better than the guy that started. I had better knowledge of the game, better skills. I was faster. Like in my mind, I was everything over this guy. The only thing he had over me was he was taller. So he had like half a second faster response than me trying to jump up and get the ball. He just put his hand up. So I would say like that would be my hero's journey. That's one that I lived because I had to prove myself prove to myself and everyone around that I am this great goalie and I deserve to be in that position. So that's like the first one that I could think back to. And I could definitely go, like, it was very anime, where I was like, I'm going to do my best and I'll train as much as I possibly can.
Cut to the intro.
Pretty much, yeah.
You're running through a field.
Bro, literally, I would walk my ass to the field. I'm carrying like 6 soccer balls. I have my bag, like, that was my high school experience. I had my bag on my back and practicing all 5 days at school with the team. And then Saturday and Sunday morning, I'm waking up and I'm on the field putting in the fucking hour and practicing. Because I was like, I'm not a bench player. I'm not meant to be on the bench. Like, I just had that thought in the back of my mind. Like, I'm not meant to be on the bench. And there came a point in time where, even though I knew my skills were ready and I was at the point where I should be on the field playing, politics came into play, and the coach liked this person better than me, so they started. So then I was like, fuck it. There's no chance for me in this team. So I left. Excuse me. At the time, I was on the freshman Froshsoft team, and I went and I asked the junior varsity coach. I was like, hey, I know you guys don't have goalies. Or no, even prior, because I didn't want to play goalie anymore. I was so turned off by it, because, like, at goalie they were like, you're too short. So I went to defense, and I went to the coach. I was like, I'm pretty sure I can help you guys' team more than I'm helping over there. And the coach was like, come to practice tomorrow, I'll see what you got. I was like, all right, cool. Showed up, played. He was like, come to the game, I'll put you in. I was like, cool. I showed up, played, and he was like, all right, keep coming to practice. And I was like, all right. Like, that's, now I show myself. And then shortly after that, a few games later, I ended up becoming or stepping back into goalie, because that's what the team needed, and becoming captain. So that would be like my hero arc, and where I was like, I do matter, you know.
Not the more you were elaborating on it, on like what your experience was, I guess I would say I think I have one. Probably my first solo art show, I felt like that, because I remember I put so much energy into, like, I'm gonna be an artist and I'm gonna hone these skills and do stuff like in that realm. And when I finally first had one, I felt super confident. I felt
Nice.
like I felt validated. Like, I'm like, wow, all these people are coming to see my thing. Like, even though it's just like my little pictures, but I felt like I was working hard for something, and I needed to show that I'm, like, selfishly, I'm special. Like, there's something special about what I can do that nobody else can do what Benjamin does. So I had to, I started being okay with that for me, and not feeling like that's like a pride thing. I was like, no, it's okay to be confident in myself. So it was kind of like, I feel like that helped bring up my confidence back from where it was knocked down for a while. So that really helped me feel like this can be a thing. Like, I'm enough to be like, I'm enough to like I'm giving something. Like, I can't even honestly always describe what I'm giving, but I feel like I have value. Like, there's value within me, and that made me feel like I had some sort of value to contribute, versus just like working like a normal quote unquote day job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you go home, just watch TV, go sleep, and you go do it again.
Yeah. It just made me feel like I can have a dream. Like, even if it's having my first show, but with just only my stuff, it can happen. And I'm like, and it happened, and I was like, okay, so I can keep investing in this dream and working on more things. Yeah. So I would say that was probably like one of the first things, because whenever I would used to be very like verbal about how when I'm painting or drawing, that's like, I'm not super religious, like going to church or anything, but I feel the most connected to like some sort of spiritual aspect when I'm painting or drawing. Like, when nobody's bugging me, it's just me. I don't have to worry about what time I have to be somewhere or anything. That is the most connected I feel to this existence, is when I can just do that with uninterrupted. And so that's, for me, that's how I know, like, I have something special. Yeah. It's not, I can't save people's lives maybe, but I have something I can give to an experience like that. There's something I'm offering. So that was really validating when I did that. And it just made me feel like I can keep going. Like, I was super scared to do like graphic design, because I'm like, I don't understand it. I just get frustrated. And I was like, well, whatever, like just do it. Like at this point,
Yeah.
well, I'm holding myself back. Like I had to really admit
It's a
it.
great way to look at it.
I'm literally holding myself back. So I finally like kind of, I think that's with aging too. Like my own personal pride of like, I'm not gonna do that because they're just gonna have to deal with it. I'm like, no, I need to get over it and learn something. Like it's gonna be hard, and it's okay that it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say that, and I feel like I have other things too, but that's probably like the most prevalent I can think of right now, and that has to do with like my creative side, I would say.
When you did your first gallery, how much went into it? What was everything that you had to go through to make it happen?
Well, I had already like a lot of stuff when I first did. I didn't have like none of the newer stuff that I'm doing now, but I had accumulated like a lot of different creative things like from that time period of when I was like getting to that point. And I'm like, I feel like I need to do something with this. I can't just keep it all to myself. Like, yeah, I'm still going to school, but I need people to see it. I need to hear feedback.
Yeah.
So my mom's friend, our like childhood friend, she owns a piano studio in downtown Santa Ana. Very cool. So she offered for one of the art walks that I can use the studio to present artwork. So I took full advantage of that. Yeah. And did that, and it was so fun. Like I just had people come for me, and I got to talk about like my work. And obviously there's some stuff that I do it's not for everyone, and I'm totally fine with that.
I think that's everyone that does art.
Yeah, like you're not offending me if you're offended by what I do. That's fine. And I also make it very clear my stuff is not for children. Like some people try to say it's Disney. I'm like, like it looks like Disney. I'm like, it is definitely not look like Disney, girl. Like, you know what I mean? What are you guys talking about?
I get what they're saying by it looks like Disney, but it's the cartoon aspect of it, the face. So that's why like I get Disney, but like that's why I fall to realistic cartoonism, because it's cartoony, yes, but when you look at a Disney face compared to the ones that you're painting or drawing, Disney still has some aspect of like cartoon, the ratio to faces. Like there's like, if you saw somebody that looked exactly like that, you'd be like, that's fucking weird. But like yours, you're like, oh shit, that's a person. It's
almost like a caricature kind of, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yes, but without the
exaggeration.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like everything I've done led up to like how I create now, and I'm just like it just comes out like I can't stop. You know, I try to do like I'm like I should try doing a different style, and even when I draw now, I'm like I'm done looking for my style. Like and you
found it.
I feel like for so long I was like, what is my style? I feel like it looks like this, and now like you said earlier, people do tell me, oh, I know when it's yours, Benjamin. It just looks like yours. And I'm like. This is okay. I'm there. So that's like fulfilling to me. Signature. Hearing people say stuff like that is very fulfilling. It makes me, just reassures me like, I still got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Doing art is it's good, and it is fulfilling. You're feeding a certain part of people's soul, which not everyone can tap into, because yes, everyone has an imagination. We were all kids, right? But not everyone can portray their imagination. And how I mentioned earlier, like you'll find your group of people. So people that do associate with your art and really like your art and it speaks to them, for them, you're doing them the favor of bringing out all the things that they see in their head that they wish they could do, but they can't. So then they see your stuff and they're like, yes, I'm happy. You know, it feeds that little void, because ultimately that's why we do art, right? Like there's something in us that needs to be fulfilled.
We're capturing real time, like what's going on in this time, regardless of like photography, whatever it is. If it's whatever you're like photographing it, you are doing it in this moment. You're recording technically history too. Like you're because if somebody 100 years from now looks back and like finds your work and is like, oh, this is what this person was going, and this time that's exactly what they were going through. So it gives you a lot of like input too on things. Yeah.
Earlier you were talking about working with molding.
Oh yeah, wanting to sculpt. I want to get into sculpting so bad. I feel like that'd be so cool.
Where do you think you're gonna start?
Clay. I'll probably
Yeah.
like do. I watched videos of people like like at home. They just get like
Mhm.
clay from like the art store, just the basic, and they just will draw like a picture and they'll try to mold it as simple as they can. I know
Interesting.
they use some kind of like moldable, not moldable, like bendable, easy wiring, and then they
Oh,
put
yeah, yeah,
foil on
yeah.
it, and then they start putting the clay on it, and they start
Interesting.
using their tools and like.
Got to make an arm. It's called an armature.
Mhm,
Gives it like
mhm,
a skeleton to build
Interesting.
upon. Yeah.
mhm.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and I was like, this is kind of easy. Like easy in the sense to start it, but obviously you
Yeah.
need the skills to like
Yeah, you finish it.
to finish, like make smooth out the edges if that's what you want. But
Yeah.
I'm like, that's an investment. Like investment in my time,
Yeah.
because I'll buy like everything I need, the tools, and I'll start using all that. Because I'm that type where if I want to learn how to do it, I'm gonna buy everything now because I want to just get to that point. But I know it's gonna be a lot of practice, so
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, I need to wait to where I'm not learning something new, which is all the digital stuff. But I do want to do sculpting, eventually get into like making, like I was saying earlier, busts. Like
Yeah.
those are so cool. Like, but to have one of modern things that I want to have, and like if I want to sell it or
Yeah.
loan it out to something,
Yeah. I'm
maybe that'd be fun.
I'm very curious to see your evolution
Mhm.
into sculpting. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
I'm interested in. I don't know if I'll ever get into it, but like rock sculpting.
Like
That-
marbling and stuff like that.
that-
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'd be so old by the time I like do the actual way they learn it.
Yeah.
There's a. Have you? There's a Apple TV show. I think it's called. It's like Houses. It's called Houses or something.
Okay.
And one of the episodes is about this family, and it's an artistic family. The wife is a fashion designer. The husband is a sculptor, and he sculpts from like magma stones from
Whoa.
the volcano in Mexico City that's close to Mexico City, whatever the
Oh, shit.
volcano is.
It's not okay.
Teotihuacan, I think.
Teotihuacan?
Yeah.
Something like that? I was thinking of fucking Parangutiri Miricua or whatever the fuck the tongue twister is.
His daughter is a painter and a cook, and
That's
the
lit.
son is like a technical genius. He's good with like creating things like with wires and like doing all. So they're a very creative family. They live in Mexico City, and the dad is a sculptor, and he's like I was fascinated because of the whole aspect of them being like an art family, and they live in a concrete home, like it's all concrete in the middle of like Mexico City where earthquakes like happen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's known for sculpting. He used to be like an architect, but he just ended up picking up sculpting from the natives who would do it, that still do it. And he's like, it's like around the world, like sculpting with stone is like, it's almost extinct. Nobody knows. There's no masters of it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so learning it's very difficult because it's basically all by text. There's nobody to like critique on like or give you.
Damn.
So that was really interesting because especially the way he uses the stone, and it has to be a specific like volcanic like whatever, and that kind of inspired me. I'm like, wow, that's a good point about like why art's so important because everything's all the computer and all that stuff, but you're not gonna have anyone to teach it anymore. If there's something about being quote unquote a master at some point, because apparently not apparently we all, if we stick to whatever our medium is, we will be the master of it at some point.
100%.
Some people faster, some you will be able to teach whatever you're good at, no matter if we think we're a teacher or not, because if we do something that we love all the time, we could show somebody something that would help them.
100%.
So that really inspired me. And if you ever get to it, it's like an Apple TV series about homes. I think it's called Home.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting, and their whole situation of what they do in like Mexico City was cool too. There's like I guess there's libraries are not common, like they're not governmentally funded. I don't think in Mexico, so they turned half of their huge ass home that has half of it is like a library, and they had the community can come in at certain times and rent out books and stuff. So I liked how the family's like really involving different artisans and things into their home as well, not just with their kids and stuff. Like the mom, all her fabric is outsourced through native like mestizo people who still make things traditionally, and they have creative input on a lot of the textiles that she does, and she gives them all credit. Like it's 100% credited to them, like for the designs. Cool. So like I liked that whole communal thing, like, and how art is like art is kind of like the soul. It's showing art as the soul of like a community. Like that's
Yeah.
what's bringing everybody together. They're all using their different skills to create something more that they can all enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that's just, I don't know. It just like that was a good art thing to share.
Yeah, it is. I like that you ended on community. So I was having a conversation, I believe, earlier today, if not yesterday, with a buddy of mine. And he was talking about how he had moved to a different state, and that thankfully he had just made friends with some dudes at the gym. So like he now has friends in a new state because he's from here. So all of his buddies are still here. And I was telling him, like, that's one of the most important things is having community, because as humans, we're meant to be in groups. We're not meant to be alone, even if it's just you.
Not forever, anyway.
Yeah, you need human interaction. So community is important for that, but also, the people around you, they help elevate you as well. Because without outside opinion or introspection, you only have your own mind to work off, and you can only do so much with yourself.
Yeah.
How do you feel community has affected you in your life, or do you feel that you've never had a stable community around you?
I feel like it's been a very good thing that I've experienced. Right now I don't feel like I have a huge like community, especially art wise right now, mainly because of school. Like my brain cannot do so many interactions.
Yeah.
So I have to cut back, which is all my attention goes to school, and I'm so happy when that excuse will be done.
Yeah, you're
but
tail end.
It's been so good in the previous times, like when I was going to school for illustration, especially that community. There was maybe like 2 or 3 students that I would see all the time and would consider like friends, and we would talk back and forth between things. Like I had one of them, her name is Jacqueline. Her friend owned a gallery in downtown Santa Ana, and I was able to like show my stuff there a couple times on art walks, like just
nice.
Because I always like call her my little art guardian angel, because she would just say, hey, do you have anything to show? Like we have space. Cool. And I would always just take her up on it, and then I started focusing on school again, so we went separate ways. But that would be cool to reconnect with her. Like that was a good community thing. Like she would remember me, and I always appreciate that type of a thing. Like I did I was in a Voyage LA digital magazine spotlight or whatever, and they reached out to me, and then they asked me, is there other people? And she was one of the people I reached out to, and then she got to do one. So I've tried. She's somebody I haven't talked to her in a while, but I would still look out for her, because she does like Pollock, like Jack Pollock type. Not exactly the same. Familiar. It's like puffy paint type of stuff. She's really good. She's really good with like abstract art and doing really cool paint. I don't even know how to describe all of her paintings, but she just does really awesome work.
That's cool.
But the community was good then, especially for art. Friend wise, like finding friends, because I was so not. I didn't really have too many friends growing up. I always had smaller circles, just because I always felt I just felt I don't know, awkward or like, insecure. Like, am I doing too much? Am I not doing enough? And the people who I do like make connections with now, being older too, you know how to like gauge if somebody worth your time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's important as well. But like my art community right now is like really lagging just because of my time. But the community has it's uplifted me so quickly when I need it, and I know it's there when if I do need it. I already know what kind of where to go to look for it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. It's nice to know that you have that, I'm going to call it safety net. Just a group of people that you can go to when you need help, when you need a little pick-me-up, a little kick of inspiration.
Yeah, the people who've seen you at your absolute worst, but champion you at your best,
Yeah. It's also cool to see them doing good, too, because you see them do cool shit, and you're like, I gotta go make some cool stuff.
I remember when we were suffering, like that was...
Yeah, that too. Like, I remember when we weren't doing stuff like this. You remember when we tried to draw a person the first time and it looked like the first Tekken game? Those are great times too, right? That's when you get to look back on it. It's nice. Take a second and appreciate everything that you've done.
Yeah. There's nothing like a good teacher too. I remember
True.
I had to retake a drawing class, like not life drawing. Well, it was life drawing, but like more like drawing like a lamp and things like that.
Okay.
And I was in the class, and she, like, the first week she came over to me, like, as everyone's working. She's like, Benjamin, how's it going? I was like, good. What's going on? And she's like, I just want to let you know, like, I know you're more advanced than everyone else in the class. And I was just like, yeah, I don't know why I have to take this class again. I've taken it before. She's like, well, just bear with me. I know some of the things I'm going to be teaching you already know. It's very clear. You know the process. She was really good. I forget her name, but I passed that class with like an A. And it was nice to be seen by your teacher, know that you're good.
Yeah.
And kind of like give you the credit that you need, like, so help you focus, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that made me feel like I was like, it was nice to be appreciated, because grade school, pretty much all school until finishing high school, I wasn't really praised by any teacher. I was always told I was like, I talk too much, or be quiet. So I'm like, well, then you don't, by telling me that, I don't know, I don't have a gauge to know now. So for the rest, it fucked me up, obviously, for the rest of those times. So when you go to college and you have real people being like, you're good, like telling you you're good at what you're doing, and those teachers like that are like, I like teachers like that, because obviously you can't do that to everybody, if they're not,
Yeah.
But we always remember those one specific people,
It's special. For me, the first teacher that I came in contact with that actually made a difference in my life, his name was Mr. Finney. Shout out to Mr. Finney. He was my 10th grade English teacher, if I'm remembering this correctly. Yeah, 10th grade. He was super dope, because every other teacher that I had, they all wanted a very strict outline, like almost essay of what my presentation was going to be, like word for word, and then I had to follow that. But that's never how my brain worked, because I understood all of the information. I knew what I wanted to talk about. So I would just make bullet points to keep me on track, and that would be my outline, because it's an outline, it's not an essay. And when I came into contact with him, he just realized that that's how my brain worked, and he worked with me on that. So one thing that was really cool is when he would give out projects or essays, whatever it was in the class, it wasn't like follow these directions specifically. It was like, here's the goal of what I want you to do, and this is what you need to turn in or present. How you get there, just show me the work of what you're doing. I don't need you to like follow these exact steps. And he also asked, he also tried to figure out what made each kid tick. And for me, he was like, what do you like the most? And I was like, honestly, when I remembered being a young kid, I liked playing with my toys and making like a story out of it, and just kind of like playing pretend and making this large elaborate story. And he goes, you'd probably like creative writing. And I was like, what's that? And he goes, creative writing is where you just write a story. You make the characters, you plan out everything that you want, and it's basically like playing pretend, but you're just gonna write it all down.
You're in control of what's going on.
And I was like, I can do that? And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh.
He's like, yeah, just give me this paper.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Everything I'd been doing was like book reports, like study this person, do all that. And then he's like, no, you could just write. And I was like, oh, okay. And then our next project was like, bring in a 2-page story. And I was like, this is for me, huh? And it was funny. He said that, and he like, it was really weird. He like looked at me, and I could have swore like he winked when he said it, like, this one's for you. And
he's like, you're winning this one. This one's for you.
I remember I wrote that shit, and I went up and I read it to the class, and then turned it in, and he read it, and he was like, this is really good. He was like, where did this come from? And I was like, I don't know. I just had a story,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what I wanted to do. And he's like, you should keep writing. He was like, I'm gonna keep giving, like, we're gonna have work throughout the year, like, do your work, but like, I'm gonna give you little prompts and just like keep bringing me stories. And I was like, cool. So we would do that, and then end of the year, he was like, he gave me all the stories back. He was like, these have all been great to read. Never stop writing. Never stop. And I was like, all right. And I stopped for a while.
That sounds like a really cool teacher.
It was. For me, that was a reassurance that being inside my head and playing pretend and having an imagination is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody had been telling me, like, stop that. You're wasting your time. Like, you missed 30 minutes of the class because you were in your fucking head just imagining some shit. I'm like, okay, so you're telling me it's bad to have an imagination? It's bad to want to play pretend? It's bad to make up characters and stories? Like, all right, I guess so. I guess I can't do this. But then you're glorifying movies and actors, which is exactly that. So it didn't click in my, like, wasn't registering in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you need somebody to kick that wall down or open that door for you to be able to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's drugs. Sometimes it's drugs.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is, you know?
Do you have any like wild trip experiences?
With drugs?
Yeah. Or wild trip in general, you know? Like if you lick the wrong frog. You were on a walk and you just saw a toad that looked
You know,
yummy.
I've only done mushrooms once.
Really?
I'm scared to like fully go out. And
Oh shit. Me too, a little bit. I'm not gonna
but
lie.
I did them when I went to Boston last time. We went
Nice.
we went to P Town, and I didn't have a bad trip, but we did a lot. We drank, we had shrooms, and we smoked weed
Sick.
within like the 30 minutes.
That's lit.
So I didn't know what was going on, but we had a great time.
Yeah.
But like a weird trip, there was I mean, weird trip is in this was it was the worst thing that ever happened. I was crossfaded for the first time.
Sick.
Normally I'm fine being crossfaded, but I threw up for the first time drinking ever, and I was like 24. It was it was an old relationship.
You know, it's pretty good. Fucking first time throwing up from drinking at 24.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
And I threw up in Nicholas's bathroom, and at this point we were just friends.
Yeah.
We weren't. It was back in the day, and he's like, "Come over. We'll just like hang out, and we'll like, you know, as a friend should, getting you over your ex."
Come kick it.
And I didn't really smoke. He's the one that got me into smoking weed.
Nice.
So I was really crossfaded and just threw up in the bathroom. That was like a memory because it's like, dang, I never done that again. I did that one more time. No, maybe twice. I've only ever thrown up like 3 times from ingesting alcohol, and it was when I was crossfaded, and all times have been with Nicholas. So there's a theme going on here. Apparently I'm fun drinking, so everyone wants to just keep giving me drinks. But
it's dangerous.
that was a time. Also, I probably so many times. I used to really party. I was partying so much in my younger 20s. I got shingles.
What?
Yeah, do you know what shingles are?
I know what they are, but not like I don't know what they are. You know what I mean?
They're adult. They're like adult, like old. You usually can get this when you're older, like 70s, 60s, 80s.
Uh-huh.
It's adult chicken pox. So if you've had chicken pox,
really?
you can get shingles. And if you
What
get
the
it when you're younger, you have to be going through a lot of stress mentally and physically. I was literally going out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, be out till like 3, 4 in the morning, have to be at the coffee shop at like 4:30 to start work. I'd work from that time to 12. This was when I wasn't going to school either, really too much. I was doing like school on and off. So I would do that for like 3 to 4 days a week for like months nonstop. And finally my body was just like, you're getting shingles. So I had it on my chest, and it, like, when you get it, it goes straight back. So what's hurting here, exactly in the same spots on my back was hurting.
Damn.
So that really, I think that slowed me down. So now I seldomly drink. I just really smoke a lot of weed, but
I fuck with it.
You know, but I use it mainly for creative and just to help me like focus, because it does help me like homework. narrows in. I'm like, okay, I can let me go, let me deep dive it on this mood board and everything. But yeah.
So you lock in with weed.
Yeah, I'm
You're
not
like
really
me.
much of a drinker. I'll do it if it's with friends. That's the only time.
I enjoy a nice drink, but I don't go deep.
Me neither. I want to remember it. You want to have the fun, right?
Yeah. See, the first time I drank, that was the problem. I had a great time, and then it was just like 12 o'clock, and then I woke up, and I was missing my shirt, I was missing my shoes, and I had a lot of jackets on top of me. So I was like, okay, well, at least they cared enough to cover me. But I couldn't find my shirt, so I just took one of the jackets. We went to Denny's, and everyone was like, oh, we're talking about stories from the night before, and oh my God, that was so funny. And I was like, when the fuck did this happen? They were like, you were doing that. You're the person in this story. And I'm like, no, I wasn't. They're like, yeah, you were drunk as fuck, but it was you. And I was like, man, I missed all the fun. I was like, that's some bullshit. So after that, I was like, I'm never getting drunk to the point where I won't remember anything. And then next time I drank, it's funny you mentioned crossfaded, because crossfaded is what led me into depression my senior year. Or I guess opened my eyes to what I was doing is how I should say it, not led me into depression. So to elaborate a little more, so my first 3 years, I was heavily focused in sports and academics because I was like, I'm going to get a scholarship and be a professional athlete. That's where my mind was. Going into my senior year, I had disagreements with the head coach of varsity. There was a lot of politics in play. He had favorites, and he didn't go off of like who's busting their ass the most at practice and like who deserves to be on the field. He was just like, oh, you're in a prestigious team outside of school, you're starting. I didn't fuck with that, so I decided not to play my senior year, and I realized that I had missed out on the entire social aspect of high school because I was so heavily focused into sports and academics that my senior year, I didn't have any requirements anymore. For sports, I needed a 2.5 to play, and since I needed 2.5, I was like, if I'm going to try, I might as well try. Senior year, no requirements, so I was like, I'm going to enjoy my senior year for what it's supposed to be. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting a whole bunch of attention from girls for the first time because going into my freshman year, I was a heavier, short kid. I was like 5'1", which is not cool. And I was chunky. I was like 145 at 5'1". And I guess through playing soccer, I didn't really pay attention to my looks while playing. I just knew that I was getting faster and my clothes weren't fitting anymore. That was like really it. And then senior year, I'm no longer in sports and I'm getting a lot of attention. I go, oh, girls are finding me attractive now. And then I entered my fuckboy era. So,
haven't we all?
Yeah. I'm like, yes, attention, girlfriend, no, but we can hang out all the time because like I like you, but like I also like her, so I want to hang out with her. But none of the girls knew that I was talking to like any of them, but they all kind of knew. But then I was like, y'all are all crazy and trying to make each other think that I like the other one to make me be only with her. But don't worry, I like you, boo. So I was like Mr. Manipulator. And fast forward to Crossfaded. This is the second party that me and my buddy had thrown. And it was like a group of 5 guys. We're all hanging out by the sofa, and there's 2 chicks at the counter, and they're like, yeah, I don't know, I feel like I've just like always been bi-curious or whatever. And the other chick is like, oh my God, like me too, like I would totally try and kiss a chick. And I was like, bing, light bulb. And I was like, well, 2 chicks are right here, and you are both happening to be of the curious of bi, so maybe you should do the kissing of the lips. And they were like, oh, that's actually a pretty good idea. And then the other dudes were like, yeah, well, y'all should do that. And then I'm like, let me sit back and enjoy the fruits of my labor. And I sit down. As soon as I sat down, I went, oh my God, what have I been doing with my life? I'm such a horrible person. I'm such a piece of shit. Wow, this is fucking, oh my God, I can't believe I've been doing this. And I just got stuck in there. And I could like visualize the girls that I had talked to in my hand. And I was just thinking of like all the things that I had been doing. Like, I'm such a fucking piece of shit. And everything had happened unbeknownst to me. I didn't see any of it. That's what I get, right? And then people were like sitting down. They're like, yo, you saw that? I was like, no, dude. I was like, no. Complete mood change. And they're like, you good? And I was like, I'm good. And I was like, all right, I shouldn't be here. It's like, let me move away from the people so that they can keep enjoying. And I went to a sofa. I sat there and I was just fucking deep in my thoughts. Like, I wasn't even trying to figure shit out. I was just like replaying and absorbing and acknowledging all of the bullshit that I had been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that went on for the whole night. And I didn't actually start processing and dealing with it for until like the next couple weeks to months.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first experience with crossfaded. I was aggressively crossfaded, like 2.5 old school edibles in, like 3 bowls, and then a lot of vodka.
You know, yes, vodka. I think it's vodka because I don't drink that anymore because of said situation. Tequila, you never have that problem with tequila.
Yeah, actually.
At least I don't.
No, no.
Dang,
No.
that it really just hit you in that moment, huh? Just
Yeah, it like a fucking switch. My ass hit the step. Depression.
would you say like it's like it was kind of like a breakdown like aspect, or it was more?
I suppose. Yeah, I suppose I could say it was like a breakdown because I wasn't functioning anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could socialize, but I absolutely did not want to. I just wanted to be fucking away from everything.
How old were you when like this happened? Like
17.
17. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to be. It wasn't like a hysterical breakdown. Like I wasn't crying or wailing or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like wherever I was just stuck deep in thought. So I would say yeah, I did. I broke down in a sense because I wasn't operating for sure.
Yeah.
I was at the most, I was observational at periods of times. But besides that, I was just like really heavily in my thoughts. Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's just hitting at that moment seems like almost like movie type of a situation. Like it's just like
It felt
boom.
like it. This is especially being at a house party
Mm-hmm.
because by the end, what I found is anywhere, it was a 2-story house that we were in. Anywhere on the first floor, people would find me and they would just like sit down and want to be around me. And I was like, I don't want this. I was like, go away. Like in my mind, I was like, you shouldn't want to be by me. I'm a horrible person. Like, please don't sit by me. I'm bad. And eventually I went all the way up to the top of the staircase and I just sat there. And I chose that space because I found that I was out of sight, so nobody was going to come looking. But 2, I could still hear what was going on.
Sounds like you were going through a discovery, a sense of self. Like you were like, I don't have a sense of self, and you're like,
Little bit.
kind of like navigating what is my sense of self.
A little bit, actually. Because I know from what I've told you, like I was so heavily invested into soccer. Like that was, I was a goalie. You know, that was my identity. That's all I did. And then I went to drumline and I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm part of drumline, but I didn't ever feel like I fit in. My final paper for my senior year of English class, I remember opening it with, in a room full of people, how can I feel so alone? That's what I opened my my senior year paper with. And that thought has sat with me, or it sat with me for many years. And I think it did have to do with not having a sense of self or understanding who I was, because I didn't really start to grasp my own self probably until I was about 19, and then shortly after I lost myself because of a relationship. I started to change who I was for a person because I knew that what I was turning myself into this person would like, and I really liked the person. And eventually I found that I wasn't happy with the person that I was because I wasn't able to do the things that made me happy. Although I was very happy with this person, I also wasn't me with this person. Though there were some aspects of me that were there, I wasn't truly me. Like, I would say now, and I have before in conversation with buddies, like, I am the most me that I have ever been. And I like that a lot. So now one of the scariest things to me is losing myself. But I think I'm so far down the path that I don't think that could happen again, which I'm very grateful for. But yes, I do think that that had come from not having a sense of self, and again, not understanding that everyone was their own person, because the things that I did, I would have hated if somebody did to me, or somebody that I loved and appreciated. And I think that inner thought was eating away at me so much, and I was not aware of it, that it took something else to bring it to light. Which is why I mentioned earlier drugs, right? Like, that should open some doors and open your eyes sometimes. It's also the same way that I had realized that I had strayed far from loving myself. So in short, I had been in that relationship at the time for, I think, like, going on 2 years, a year and a half, something like that. And I was in Great Basin National Park in the middle of winter, hella snowy, super cold, late as fucking night. We have a fire lit. I have 7 gummies, fucking homemade edibles, in a bag left. 2 nights to go, and I go, fuck it, all 7 tonight. Bam. So I ate all 7. Throw the bag away. Forget I ate all 7. Smoke a joint. Forgot I smoked that joint. Smoke another joint. And then my eyes got heavy, and they closed. And I knew when I were closed facing the fire, it was like orangish, and I would turn around because it was cold on my back, and then it would be pitch black. So I'm like, all right, cool. That's how I knew my space and time. And then I'd go, man, I'm cold, so I'd have to turn again. And I poofed into Costco looking at the rotisserie chickens, and I go, oh, I have to rotate at a specific speed to keep everything warm. So I start rotating, and then again, I can see my vision change from like black to like orange. So I know where I'm at. I know which way I'm facing. And then all of a sudden, shapes start to flow and move together, and I'm like, whoa. And the reds start becoming like reds, oranges, yellows, and it looks like Mars is starting to form. I'm like, whoa. And I have music playing out of the speaker on my phone in my jacket. Were you alone? We were the only people in the campsite. Okay. And it was literally just me and my brother. This is also when the national parks were closed. Remember when Trump closed all the national parks or something like that because of funding? It was during that period of time too. So there was nobody in the parks. And music is playing. I'm on Mars. And I see a stage off in the distance. And you remember those old media players where like the music would bounce on the screen with each hit of the song? So it was like that, but it's like rainbows shooting across the sky. I'm like, wow, this is fucking sick. I was like, I see like creatures running. I'm like, I'm in an intergalactic music festival. This is so fucking cool. Like, wow. And then I feel my back get cold. I'm like, oh, that's right. I got to turn. So my eyes are still closed. I turn. It's still like an astral plane fucking terrain, but now it's like grays, blues, greens, all cool tones. Another stage, and I'm like, oh, nighttime stage, the fucking galaxies and shit moving through the sky. I keep rotating, and then I feel a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and I see myself, but from before I started dating this girl. And I go, do you remember me? I went, I think so. He goes, you used to love me. What happened? And my eyebrows went so high, my eyes cracked open. And I see my brother staring at me like this, all fucking weird. And I went, dude, if I told you where I was, you would not believe me. And I closed my eyes and tried to go back. Never went. But the message was received.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been told that it's wild that I had that experience on weed. And I was like, well, that was also like right when I had started to do the marijuana. I started to experiment with it because I was backpacking with my brother and a buddy of mine, Tian. And my hips and knee started to fucking kill because we had just done straight up like 45 minutes of the nastiest incline. and he pulls out a dab pen, and he was like, "Bro, just take a hit, you'll be fine." That is not the instructions that he should have given me, as the first time I had ever smoked since high school. This is now like a 21-year-old me. Last time I'd smoked 17. Okay, so I got baby version lungs. I see him take the fattest rip, hand it off to my brother. My brother takes a fat old rip and then hands it to me, and I start taking a fat old rip. And as soon as I go, my brother goes, "Ah!" And I went, "I'm fucked." I took it out, and I coughed a lung out for like a cool 5 minutes. And then after everything leveled out, like the achingness in my body just kind of dissipated, and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." And after that, I started experimenting more with it, and it opened up my curiosity. And then that led to me going full gung-ho in the mountains because, well, ultimately I was unhappy, but I didn't know why. And then I found the answer, and I tried to stay with my girlfriend at the time, and I wasn't mature enough to work through things with her, but we ended up having the same argument every night. She didn't want me to drink or smoke because her family had problems with addiction, and she didn't want any part of it. And I was like, "Well, I don't have problems with addiction."
Yeah, I'm like, "You're not her blood." So
that's exactly what I said, and she got offended. And I was like, "I'm not." But yeah, so that was like our constant fight for like a cool 3 months, and it's tiring. It's tired, yeah. I was done with it, so it was what it was, and I left for my own good so that I could be me and live happily.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's nice to find yourself.
There's nothing wrong with putting yourself first.
No,
because if you don't put yourself first, you can't teach anybody anything or help anybody.
Get more water?
I'm okay. I still got a good amount.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny because that's why they tell you on the airplane, put your oxygen mask on first. Because if you fucking pass out, you're not gonna help nobody.
You're gonna be knocked out.
That's why there's the saying, glass empty or half full. I thought about it as, if your glass isn't full, you can't help fill anybody else's. So make sure you fill your glass first. Feed your soul. Make sure you're happy.
Wow, what an interesting experience you had.
Yeah.
I think I've had maybe nothing, all my stuff like that type of aspect. I feel like I think about that all the time, like those types of things all the time. I just have a hard time narrowing it down, which is what weed helps me. Just like it's like if there's a bunch of screens and I'm looking, it's like when I smoke weed, it's like, this is the one you need to pay attention to. Oh, okay, cool. It helps me focus on task at hand, or what I'm not paying, like when I'm overlooking, you know?
Yes. Yeah, I do. So I'm the type of person where if I allow myself to, my brain is firing like all the time. But when you're like that, it's very, very hard to just stay on one process. So that's why when you earlier when I was like, "Oh, you use it to lock in," like, that's me. I use it to slow myself down so that I can really process things appropriately. Yeah, it's interesting. There's not too many people that I run into that are like that. Usually they smoke weed and they're like, "I can't fucking do shit."
Oh, it makes me be able to function. I feel like it gives me, I mean, I don't feel like I'm addicted. Like, I can, if I have times where I don't have it, I'm like, okay, I don't have it at work. Like, that's fine.
Cool. Yeah.
But it's like, maybe whatever my brain chemical balance or whatever, it helps me like be able to get through what I need to get through. Maybe it's because right now I'm technically I'm a little more stressed right now, so maybe that's why it's been a tool for that.
Yes, actually. So I know that smoking weed directly relates and affects the creation of dopamine. Like, there is a surge of dopamine when you smoke weed. That's why it does help with depression. The problem with that, though, is that it does throw your brain out of its normal chemical regulation, because you're not naturally making serotonin, or not serotonin. Yeah. Sorry. For a second, I was like, did I use melanin? or melatonin. That's
I
the
was
one
like,
that makes you
melanin
sleep.
is the skin
Yeah,
tone.
yeah, yeah.
Is the skin.
Serotonin. So when you no longer have weed, the first thing that'll happen is you have a huge drop off. So you will fall heavily into depression. You'll just have sad thoughts. And then it kind of takes a while for your brain to kick back up and start creating dopamine and serotonin again. So yes, there is an addiction aspect, but also I always go to, there's no physical degradation or effect to the body when you just stop smoking weed. You can literally just cold turkey and you'll be fine. Like the biggest report is people got like the sniffles or something like that when they cold turkeyed. So my question anytime somebody goes like, I feel like I'm addicted but not really, is like, could you stop? If you want to do just like stop smoking, then you're fine. There was a period of time where I was like, maybe I couldn't because I'm using this a lot. And I did cold turkey for like 2.5, almost 3 months. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm fine. If I wanted to, I could. And the only difference during that period of time was I was in more pain. I was like that was it. Life was just more painful. So
for me, it's just like I have to spend more time to focus. Like I'm like, okay, I really need to like. Then I turn everything off. I'm like, okay, read through this slowly. Read. Okay, read it again. Read. Like I have to do things more. I feel like
that seems like such a hindrance, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, if I was your advisor, I'd be like, you smoke that weed.
Yeah, but you know, I haven't not smoked it longer than like maybe a week, and since the past like maybe 2-3 years. So I don't know if like maybe I should chill in that aspect, but
how do you feel?
I mean, I feel good. The only thing I could say I feel like it does bad for me is like it gives me the munchies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like all that working out. I'm like, before, but that's the most negative I can say that I feel from it.
Well, it's not the worst. The good thing is that you're aware of it, and you already got the home gym, so you know you're like 3/4 of the way there.
Yeah, I do enjoy working out high though.
Dude,
it is,
the mind to muscle connection. You could feel it more, right?
I feel like I can feel muscles that I can't feel when I'm normally just trying to do. I'm like, okay, but I can't feel it. I can't like, and you don't always have somebody to go over and just like, this is what you're trying. This is what you're trying. So I feel like it does, and it helps me focus on like if I'm like, okay, I want to do arms, and then I start like, oh, I can feel. Okay.
You gotta lock into form a little bit more. You're like, oh, I can feel like the shoulder is like pushing forward.
I'm like, why am I?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of fucking working out high. I like it a lot.
Me too. It makes me feel like I go longer because my brain is in it. It's not just.
So again, because of the dopamine and serotonin that's going through, there is a lack of pain receptors, or there's a lack in pain reception, I should say. So that's also why you feel like you can go longer. My brother Alex and I, our best gym set back in my 2-footed days, we got blitzed, bro. Like, it was difficult to get into the gym type of high.
You're like, let me wait a couple minutes, right?
Yeah. Actually, no, usually I need to get in as soon as I possibly can.
Oh, I feel like everyone's looking at me though.
I try and beat the fucking high. So like I know there's the if you smoke fast enough, there's like a 5 to 10 minute window where it doesn't really hit you yet. You're still in that like operable like kind of climbing high, and then it smacks the fuck out of you. That's been in my experience when I'm like.
See, that's why I just like working out in the garage because I could literally in between set. I'm like, I smoke.
That is very nice.
I smoke a bong usually, so
nice.
I don't know if that's like the top of like you're really getting it versus like a little bowl, you know.
I would say a dab is like the top of you're really getting. Like
I used to do that.
If you was in the garage dabbing between sets, I'd be like, "Are you wildin'?"
During the pandemic, that's what it was. Dabs. I'm like, we don't got nothing to. I got 2 months of no work, so let me
go deep.
Right, and I was like, oh, I cannot. Can't do this all the time.
No, No, you cannot.
That's where I'm like, that is a problem. When it's the dab every day of the week. Oh, oops. For me, that's for me.
I agree. I've told him
because I do like
too.
it, but I want to keep that like of it. You know what I mean? Like I want to keep that.
That's the special treat, you know. That's the special treat when you have that long weekend and you really want to go deep. That's that special treat.
That's like I just got this new video game and I have nothing to do for 2 days.
Yup.
I haven't in a while though.
Nice.
Except when my sister comes over, she still dabs pretty regularly, but I've just been
Flouring it up.
vaping and then I'll get the pen on the occasion.
Hell yeah.
Dabs are expensive.
Fuck yeah. Wax
Weed's
costs a
fucking
lot.
expensive.
Yup. Yeah, I still before I thought, you know, this one is legit a meme, and it's like what smoking weed is like, and it's Mickey at Disneyland fucking waving, and then under is like what taking a dab is like, and it's like that grungy basement and like the creepy Mickey in the fucking corner. Like that's what I always thought of dabbing as, and then I did it for the first time and I was like, yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Oh my god.
You dab and you're like,
You better hold on tight when you hit the dab if you haven't done it in a while. Especially.
It's like smoking cigarettes for me. It doesn't do anything.
oh, okay.
I wish I could still, bro. On my episode of the podcast,
Oh yeah.
I think I took like 700 milligrams in edibles, and I was
Yeah,
a little
you did
high.
a lot.
What?
Yeah.
And
Have you
then-
ever
was
been to
insane.
like a special weed market, like a night market?
Mm-mm.
I get emails or messages from them all the time, but me and Nicholas went once.
like the sessions?
Maybe
Like
it's
the-
in like LA, like East LA or like downtown LA, like area. They pop up like
the
randomly.
LA session or whatever I think is what it's called. And
Maybe.
they have OC sesh, and I think there's a Long Beach sesh as
Maybe
well.
is it like a type of thing you can only get a text and that's how you get there? That's how this is.
I used to get them on Instagram, but I don't have that anymore, so I don't know about the texts.
Well, whatever it's called, it's like where you get a text and you go or whatever, and it's like people make like their homegrown weed or their homemade.
That's pretty cool.
Made gummies. Went once. I didn't know I should have taken more cash because I would have bought way more of these edibles. It was like a can of 20. And they were blueberry, I remember, and it was $40, or it was $40 for the whole tin. Each individual gummy was 100 milligrams.
Oh fuck!
And I never had that many at that much at once. And I wasn't driving, so I took. And it was nighttime.
Yeah.
Took one within 10 minutes. It was like it's like you're going through hyperspace and the Millennium Falcon like on the freeway, and I just felt
that's
whoa.
great.
And I was like, damn, I should have brought more cash to get them. And I haven't gone back because
You can get Buddy's brand
Oh yeah.
capsules, which is what I took on that podcast. You can get them in a set of 10 at 100 milligrams each for I think it's like $44.
oh,
But I can do like 2,500 milligrams and be fine.
dang, I probably couldn't.
I have a problem.
I think
What's even crazier is that I also take Adderall in the morning.
Adderall. I've never.
mething it up.
Is that meth?
They're meth.
It's an
meth
amphetamine.
salts, amphetamine salts.
But you have to like. And
Not
right?
really.
That's it?
No, I literally have a prescription for my ADHD.
No, yeah, but like you're not over.
It is.
No.
It's legitimately
You're not
amphetamine.
abusing it, is what I'm saying.
No,
you're
no,
not like.
No.
You're not like in the night scratching.
No.
Yeah, no, he's good with it.
I genuinely need it to function.
Yeah, I've seen him without it.
The weed
This wasn't the
not
greatest.
the Adderall.
Oh, I'd say the Adderall, but
Yeah, no, both. Who am I kidding?
Adderall. I've heard more things about Adderall. Not bad, just like it's needed.
yeah. I don't know if you know this, but Hitler was fucking methed out of his mind. The entirety of his. Yeah. That was great, and it made a lot of sense.
I love the
afterwards.
video of him just fucking tweaking at the
Oh,
Olympics.
the Olympics, yeah,
in his
just fucking-
seat.
And
That's
they let him be the leader of their country, right? Like
I don't know if they let him. I think he might have just stated he was with enough gusto, and they were like, "I guess so, dude.
I
Fuck
feel like
it."
somebody back then could have got rid of him easier than now. Like they really could
Probably.
have.
I feel like now would probably be easier
Harder.
to get rid of him.
You don't feel like it'd be harder now? If it was like that happened now with all the technology now, I feel like it'd be harder now.
Well, the U.S. got a lot of good tech in the military, so I feel like it would be real easy to do a little Osama mission again.
Ugh.
You know, we might lose another 7 SEALs or so, but Hitler might die.
We could have avoided a whole bunch there.
Could have, but then there's the paradox of what would have happened if Hitler died, and Hitler actually killed one of the people that was going to be the next mass genocide murderers. That was worse than Hitler.
You have
Gasp.
you have to think, are we saying that Germany would have the equivalent of their tech now that they did then? So they would be way more advanced than we are. So we would have no chance. Because Germany was like 30 to
Super
40
close.
years more advanced in a lot of their technologies than we were in World War II.
And they almost got the atomic
true.
bomb before us. Like, they was so close. Like,
Yeah.
they say it was like neck and neck.
Well, our scientists that did it were theirs.
Yeah. They were like, we got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how well we'd be able to super Germany.
Well,
Oh, yeah. That's what they want to call it, huh? Like, super
remember.
Germany. They're ancient. They're like cement city of just like.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I think war-wise, we looked out that he shot himself, because I know in the tanks we were getting fucked. I think the ratio in order to destroy one of their tanks was 4-1. It took 4 of our U.S. tanks to destroy one of their. I think were they the first ones they used in World War II Panzerschrecks, some shit like that.
The Panzer tank. Panzerschreck was a rocket launcher,
Okay.
but the Tiger was the one that was a problem
Yeah.
because its armor was so thick.
Yeah. It was nuts. We were losing too many folks and the vehicles. And this is a small ass fucking country. They held off for a long time.
2 fronts.
Yeah.
They had the worst allies. Really, Italy fucked them over. If
Yeah.
Italy wasn't as distracted as it like chaotic, they might have won because of if Italy had their shit together.
All of their allies did. Even Russia ended up backstabbing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Russia was like, just kidding. We're gonna turn on you.
Oh, speaking of meth, did you know that
About meth? No.
yeah.
Tell me.
So Hitler specifically stated that all of the people operating tanks needed to have the highest doses of meth, and they would fucking crack out and meth out all of their soldiers.
That's why they would just keep going.
Exactly. So I believe it's when they took over France, the rations that were given to the French was like 1.5 liters a day of red wine, and to the Germans it was fucking meth. So by the end of the first day, when the French were all like, all right, let's drink and chill for a bit, the Germans were like, no, we'll keep fighting. Just came in and fucking destroyed.
Like that technology really that's what made that war so just like scary.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was just like, well, we're just experimenting, might as well just try it out. We're in the middle of a war, let's try it out.
Yeah. That war was so fucked up we had to make rules. You know?
Especially like not knowing what the atomic bomb was going to do, and just like, let's
Bro.
just drop it. You don't, they didn't even know.
I mean, I feel like from that test you should have fucking known. You know, you should have known you were gonna fuck some shit up. That's a big explosion.
It's like, what? Yeah, I just, why did we need to get that? Why did we need to be so destructive? Like, why was that the goal, you know?
I think the thought process was, we know it's capable, and if they get it first, they're going to use it on us. So we need to get it first. I think that was the thought process behind the scientists. Now, if you've watched Oppenheimer and you want to believe that that's truth, okay. So in the movie, the scientists state that we want to make the bomb first and test it so that we can show its destructive potential so that it won't be used. That's what they portray.
Come on, like,
But then once it's completed, I believe it's President Eisenhower. He's like, "Oh, they're done. Cool. Give them to me," and fucking drops them. Like that's how they portray it. Truman. Okay.
Eisenhower's after. He was D-Day.
Sick. All right. Yeah, my
No,
history ain't the greatest, but I appreciate. I was like, no, you good. But yeah, like that's the way that they said it. He was like, okay, we want to make it so that we can show you shouldn't use this, and then somebody else took it and used it for bad. But you're very right. There really wasn't.
It was just like it was like free time to be destructive, like to figure out how faster ways to kill people.
We just kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that happening now, but the way everything's going, who knows?
Yeah, it must have been a really fucked up place and time to live in.
My great grandfather was in World War II.
Was he really?
He was 5'2" or something like that.
Damn,
super. Son. He was on he's stormed Normandy.
No way.
So they literally had to help hold him because he was going to drown from all the weight.
No shit.
Spoke 7 languages. We have somebody over there. He ended up falling in love with the Hungarian nurse. So there's family over there.
That's cool.
We never met, but it was interesting. He used to talk about stories like that and stuff.
That's a trip.
Yeah, he ended up dying from it too because shrapnel eventually gave him gangrene when he was like 84 or something.
That's a long ass time. Damn, son.
Yeah, he died. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Born in like 1919,
yeah, probably.
Yeah, like around there or something. So that was cool to have like somebody in my family that talked about it and stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking that right now, how interesting it would be to know somebody or to be able to have a conversation with someone from that era.
Like my family always like goes back to what would he think about everything now, like that's been happening with her, and they're always like he would be so like disappointed, like this is what we've come to, and
I bet. Yeah. Oh, I bet the world is a dark and horrible place because how they said if they get it first they'll use it. It's very true. There's people that are just kind of inherently bad, and how I was a selfish piece of shit when I was a younger adult. There's people that are still
but
selfish.
You don't think that's part of learning? Like you're learning how. Sometimes you have to learn how to be good.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I do.
And when you have that epiphany, that shows that your true self is good because you realize like those actions are not good.
Problem is some people don't have those epiphanies.
Yeah, some people never realize that.
Yeah. Yep. But what we can do is do our best to be good and share good and hope that other people want to do good, right?
Yeah.
Benjamin.
Yes.
It was almost midnight.
Oh.
Let's wrap this puppy up.
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
This is the final question.
Final, okay.
During your period of time on this earth, what's something that you've learned that's helped you live a better life?
Nobody knows what's going on. We're all just trying to get to the next day. Yeah.
I like that. You're right.
Yeah. So like, be nice on yourself because none of us really know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been asked that question kind of similarly before.
Nice.
Yeah.
I had that ready in the chamber. It's a good one though. I haven't heard that.
I feel like it's accurate. Like it's kind of accurate, right? Like nobody taught us how to like pay taxes and some of the stuff that we have to do, or nobody told you your bones are gonna hurt older you get, or
everyone has their own idea of what it is. Doesn't mean it's right or not. It could be. It's different for everyone.
Yeah,
it's a good one. I appreciate you coming in here and sharing mine and letting me pick your brain as far as arts go and sharing more of how you became you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
Of course, you're welcome anytime. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.